Very good morning. Very soon we will start our program formally. Very good morning. Good morning to all of you. Ankit ji, please inform us. Has Professor Madan Mohan Goyal ji have joined us? And Shri Manmohan Krishna sir has also joined us. Kindly make sure. Ankit ji and Naresh ji.
Madam, sir has joined.
MM Goyal sir or Manmohan Krishna sir. Both have joined
जी
us.
जी मैडम. Yes,
Okay.
both has joined.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
मैडम गोयल साहब ने नहीं करा अभी.
Okay.
Yes, both are joined. सर एक बार आगे आ जाओ इसको भी आ जाएंगे
Naresh ji, please kindly confirm again. Goyal sir has joined or not?
मैडम गोयल सर ने नहीं ज्वाइन करा बा. मदन मोहन.
और सर मैं सबसे पहले ज्वाइन कर चुका हूँ.
Hare
अच्छा.
Krishna sir.
हरे कृष्णा सर, हरे कृष्णा.
नरेश जी आपको नजर नहीं आया मैं.
ठीक है सर, आगे आगे पिन कर लिया हमने आपको.
Thank you very much sir. Now we will formally start our program. Good morning, Principal sir. Should we start the program?
Yes, sure.
Thank you very much sir. Good morning, Suprabhat, Khushamadid और नमस्कार. Most respected Shri Ashwini Shorewala ji, President, Rashtriya Vidya Samiti, Governing Body, RKSD College Cathal, respected Chief Guest of the inaugural session, Professor Madan Mohan Goyal ji, former Vice Chancellor, StarX University and Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development, Government of India, Keynote Speaker, Professor Manmohan Krishna, Niti Aayog Chair, Department of Economics, University of Allahabad, respected Principal, Professor Dr. Sanjay Goyal, Vice Principal, Dr. Satyavir Mehla ji, Shri Manohar Manoj, Editor-in-Chief, Economy India Magazine, Dr. Virender Goyal, former Head Department of Economics, Dr. Geeta Goyal, Manjula Goyal Madam, Suruchi Madam, Rajesh Sir, all the staff members, organizing team members, and all the participants from all over India, and Head Department of Economics, Dr. Suraj Walia, convener of the program, national seminar. I, Dr. Ritu Walia, Assistant Professor of Economics and co-convener of the seminar, extend a heartily welcome to all of you in one-day interdisciplinary national seminar on the theme Viksit Bharat at 2047, Challenges, Opportunities and Roadmap, being organized by Department of Economics, RKSD College, Cathal, under the aegis of Director General, Higher Education, Haryana. I once again welcome you all on the behalf of Department of Economics and on the behalf of organizing team. RKSD College Cathal is a premier institution of higher education in the center of the city, Cathal. Since its inception in 1954, it has been endeavored to disseminate education with remarkable focus on inculcating sanskaras, knowledge, and focuses on all-round development of the student. With the objective of teaching and learning, Department of Economics of the college organizes various student-centric, research-centric activities such as national workshops, capacity building programs, elocution competition, leadership camps, etc. Today, National Seminar is one of the initiatives by the department to disseminate the awareness among the teachers, students, research scholars, and all the stakeholders of the nation to know about very relevant and crucial issue of today and future as well, Viksit Bharat. Before starting any academic karma, we seek the blessings of Ma Saraswati. For the same, I invite all the dignitaries on the dais for letter writing ceremony. I request Principal Sir, Satyavir Mehla Sir, Geeta Madam, Manjula Madam, Rajesh Sir, Suruchi Madam, all the organizing team members, kindly join us. Thank you. Now, I request Principal Dr. Sanjay Goyal for his welcome address. Professor Sanjay Goyal is a man of science having experience of more than 33 years of teaching and research. Dr. Goyal has joined as a principal in 2018. Dr. Goyal has visited many countries and Sir has presented many research papers in national and international conferences. I request Sir for his welcome address.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable Chief Guest, Professor M.M. Goyal, Keynote Speaker, Professor Manmohan Krishna, Vice Principal of the College, Dr. S.S. Mehla, Dr. V.P. Goyal, former Head, Department of Economics of the College, Convener of the seminar, Dr. Suraj Walia, Co-Convener, Dr. Ritu Kangwalia, Shri Manohar Manoj, Editor-in-Chief of the magazine Economy India, learned speakers, esteemed guests, the organizing team, faculty members, participants from across the country, covering more than 15 states, and my dear students. It's an honor to welcome you all to this national seminar on Viksit Bharat at 2047, being organized by the Department of Economics of the college. It's my duty and privilege to share a brief introduction of our honorable chief guest and the keynote speaker, Professor Madan Mohan Goyal, who is known as a stalwart in academia and nidonomics, is a former professor of economics from Kurukshetra University, Kurukshetra. He has 46 years of teaching and 17 years of administrative experience, including that of Vice Chancellor, StarX University, Gurugram, Jagannath University, Jaipur, Director cum Vice Chancellor, Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development, Sri Perumbudur, and Kunwar Singh University, Ara, except that of Dean of Colleges, Dean Social Sciences, and Chairman Department of Economics and Department of Journalism at Kurukshetra University, Kurukshetra. Professor Goyal has also worked as advisor public finance for 6th State Finance Commission of Haryana, and he has been chosen among 100 scholars to speak in Amrit Kal Vimarsh Viksit Bharat at 2047 program of Government of India by the Prime Minister Office, under which higher education institutions are discussing the transformational changes. His area of research is economics of human resource development and Indian economy. He has as many as 524 publications, including 5 books, 1 monograph, 120 journal research papers, 38 chapters in edited books, 60 conference proceedings, and several articles. He has successfully guided 25 PhD scholars. He has completed 2 research projects, and Professor Goyal has also served as editor of Kurukshetra University Research Journal of Arts and Humanities and Journal of Haryana Studies. In addition, as the chief editor of Kautilya. He is on the editorial board of Finance India. He has drafted the intellectual property right IPR policy of Kurukshetra University, Kurukshetra, and he enjoys the status of spiritual citizen with 270 blogs in Times of India and 370 blogs on nidonomics. Professor Goyal, we feel proud with you as chief guest, and I'm sure our participants will be inspired with your honorable presence. Our keynote speaker, Professor Manmohan Krishna, is a renowned and revered teacher. He has more than 40 years of experience in teaching and research, affiliated to Department of Economics, University of Allahabad. Presently, Professor Manmohan Krishna is heading the Niti Aayog chair. Professor Manmohan Krishna has authored and co-authored several national and international research publications in journals of great repute, and also he has worked as a reviewer for reputed professional research journals. Professor Krishna is having an active association with different societies and academies around the world, and he has received several awards and honors for his contributions. His major area of specialization includes international economics, economic theory, and Indian economy policy. Sir, I extend a very warm welcome to you from my own behalf and on behalf of the RKSD family. Friends, as we gather here today, we are reminded of the Prime Minister's vision for a developed India by 2047, emphasizing economic growth, social progress, environmental sustainability, and good governance. Let us recognize the critical role that our youth will play in shaping India's future. The government initiatives such as Viksit Bharat, Young Leader Dialogue demonstrates the importance of empowering our minds to contribute to the nation's development. This seminar provides a platform for experts, researchers, and students to share ideas, insights, and research findings on various aspects of development. We aim to inspire critical thinking about the challenges and opportunities ahead and explore innovative solutions for achieving the vision of Viksit Bharat at 2047. Dedicating to the seminar, the Department of Economics is also releasing a special issue of the magazine Economy India, and I would like to acknowledge the help and support that we have got from Shri Manohar Manoj, editor-in-chief of the magazine. I extend my gratitude to the chief guest, the keynote speaker, the plenary speakers, and paper presenters for their valuable contributions. I also thank the organizing team, faculty members, and students for their tireless effort in organizing the event. Let us work together to make this seminar a success and contribute to the vision of a developed India. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your warm wishes, warm welcome, and for the introduction, our chief guest and the keynote speaker. Thank you very much. Now I request Head Department of Economics, Dr. Suraj Walia, convener of the seminar, for introducing the theme of the seminar.
Good morning. A very good morning to one and all. Respected Professor M.M. Goel, the chief guest of the national seminar, my mentor, my guide, Professor Manmohan Krishna, the today's keynote speaker of the inaugural session, most respected Principal Professor Dr. Sanjay Goel, Vice Principal Professor S.S. Mehla, organizing team, faculty members, and the participant, those who have joining us from all over the India. And I'm very happy to share that more than 260 participants have joined us in this national seminar. It is my proud privilege to be share the concept note of this seminar on the topic Viksit Bharat. Viksit Bharat at the 2047 is the vision aimed to convert developing India into the developed economy by the 2047, the 100th year of independence. The vision encompasses various aspects of development, including economic growth, social progress, environment sustainability, and good governance, among others. The concern is not merely touching $30 million GDP mark, but to adopt pro-poor, sustainable, inclusive, and decentralized measures. With its large size in terms of geography and economy, India, with its vision, is aspiring to harness the potential of its huge demographic dividend. The focus has shifted from the traditional pillars of economy, that is, agriculture, to secondary and tertiary sectors. To revive the indigenous industries, the government support is also aimed with an intention to generate employment opportunities and spread happiness with a better standard of living. Added to this, creating rural and urban infrastructure is also one of the major concerns. Promoting digital economy, fostering growth, and boosting innovation are the key elements of this vision. Genuine efforts for the institutional and legal reforms with a focus on good governance, robust and sustainable development are needed to achieve these goals. India has potential, capabilities, and willpower to emerge as a developed nation. However, dearth of resources pose enormous challenges. The blueprint for the Viksit Bharat also aims to address these challenges. India is determined to create an indigenous model of development based on the needs and aspiration of the people. In today's world, it is an irony that even after the 75 years of decolonization, Western models of economic development is still used in the development process. So the vision of Viksit Bharat envisages the development which focuses on the capacity building of common people, socio-economic and economic inclusion, and sustainability at all the levels. The four pillars of Viksit Bharat are Yuva, youth, Garib, poor, Mahilaएं, women, and Annadata, that is farmers. If India is able to uplift and create a better economic environment for all the four stakeholders, it will be rapidly move towards being a developed nation. Keeping these aspects in mind, the present seminar will focus on the challenges, opportunities, and the roadmap for Indian economy to achieve the goal of Viksit Bharat. Thank you so much.
तो मैंने इतना बहुत पता नहीं चल रहा फिर बात
Thank you very much, sir, for introducing the theme of the seminar. Now, without taking too much time, I request our keynote speaker, Professor Manmohan Krishna, for delivering his keynote address. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Am I audible? Can people listen to me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. So, first of all, I must thank the RKSD College for inviting me as keynote speaker because
Manmohan Krishna, sir.
I think I asked and someone told me that I'm audible. Probably you are not able to listen to me.
Yes, sir.
Audible, sir. You are audible.
The lady on the dais is not probably.
Yes, sir.
So ask her please to have a seat and listen to whatever foolish things I say. So, ma'am, I am already there and I am ready to speak. Okay, thank
Okay,
you
sir.
so
Okay. Over to you,
thank,
sir. Thank you.
thank you so much. So, first of all, RKSD College, I must thank you because I do not know anybody in that college, and still you invited me as a keynote speaker. Maybe it was Dr. Goel, who is a friend of ours, may have suggested my name. That might be one of the reasons. So, let me start with the topic, but I should first of all naturally welcome the guests on the dais, Gwalia ji and the principal Goel Saab and the Madan Mohan ji. Dear sir, I start with something different. And I'm sorry to say that I might switch to Hindi also sometimes because there are certain things when you say Viksit, then it must be something related to Hindi also. So I might shift it to them. Let me start. Everywhere in the world, writers, economists, other people have been thinking of a nation or a country as one which is better than like heaven, where the people live in harmony, where people have enough to eat, where people have enough to survive all kind of odds, where people can naturally get all these opportunities of employment, growth, and potential. For example, one writer, Thomas More, wrote about an utopia. Utopia was a kingdom where everyone used to eat good food and use gold only for making tables, windows, and doors. There are so many writers like this. In India, also, we had a concept of the what we call as Rama Rajya, where everyone is living very happily, everyone has got opportunity to grow, etc., etc. But economists have different kind of ideas, and they started quantifying as to what a developed country would like be. And there were various writers. The first and the foremost, I think, is probably Rostov. There are other writers, I can name them, but Rostov was one who said that there are 5 stages, and if you reach the 5th stage, you will be called a growth developed country, and that will be called as age of mass consumption. And in this age of mass consumption, what he says is you can achieve it when your investment is 20% of the GDP, gross domestic production. That means 80% every time you consume, and 20% at the least you invest so that the production continues and the age of mass consumption can continue. He also discussed about population variables, what shall be the birth rate, the death rate, and others. So Rostow was the first person who tried to define various societies, traditional society and something like that. And every country has to pass through them. And once it reaches the stage that is known as takeoff stage, then after the takeoff stage, where certain leading sectors take you to the growth, you reach into the area of industrial production, technological production, and then finally you reach to that stage. And he said that in 1950, USA and certain countries are there. And he also said that India and China in 1950s have started the takeoff, and by 1980-90 they will become a developed country. Marx also developed certain stages, but his stages were more political than economic. Now, this quantification has continued since then, and so various indices have come. For example, there is a Human Development Index. He says a developed means that there shall be 3 basic features that must be achieved by a nation. One is long life, that is high life expectancy, much greater personal income, that is per capita income, and the third they said was education, so that you are at least rational enough to utilize those resources in a well-mannered system. So HDI is created by 3 different indices, and any country who reaches 0.8 naturally comes into what you call as a developed nation. India at this point is 0.64, as you all must be knowing. You are all economists, so I need not tell all those statistics to you. Then there were other measures also, gender empowerment indexes and other kind of indexes that have been developed. But World Bank and IMF have a different kind of concept, and they classify countries into 4 groups: the poor, the lower middle income, and the developed, that means high income. High income is a country where the basic per capita income shall be above $18,004 per annum. High middle income is above 4,500 to 18,400. Below that is lower medium income is from 1,200 to around 4,500. And below that they are called it poor nations. In this classification also, India comes under lower medium classes because India's per capita income at present is around $2,300 or something like that. So in that capacity also, you can call that India is not a high income or middle income or high middle income country. It is in the lower side of it. Now, if we take these kind of definitions, basically what I mean to say is that any definition based on education, based on technology, based on economy, based on per capita income, can it be justified? So we have to think of a different kind of developed Bharat. I'll start with this definition first and then see how India can become or can reach to that level by which we will be able to reach a high income or a developed HDI of 0.8. Let's start with the per capita income. I told you that per capita income at this point of time is around $2,300 per annum. And the minimum that we have to reach is $18,004. How this figure came, that I can tell you, because there is a different kind of classification of dollar per capita and dollar per nominal dollars, etc., etc. But this is what they define. Now, if we have to reach that, that means we have to reach the level of $18,004 by 2047. Is it possible? We have to look up different things first and then we can see. I'll just try to tell you that Harry Domer was the first person who decided how economic growth can be fastened, rapidified, because economic growth needs a higher level of capital output ratio as well as higher level of savings. So to reach that level, that means India at present is 2,300 and it has to reach to 18,004. That means we have to grow at a certain rate. Now, we have a savings rate and we have to reach to that growth. But we have to remember two more things. At present, our population is around 143. In 2047, by all means, it is likely to be 165 millions. That means at least 22 million more people will be added. 22 crore log aur jud jayenge. This is one thing. Another important thing is, at present, $1 is equal to 87. It was hardly $1 was equal to 7.5 in 1960s. As the rate of present depreciation continues, maybe the dollar reaches to 125 on that day. So we have to think of a growth rate. That means we have to achieve 18,004 with the population of 165 million people and also with the dollar equivalent to $1 equivalent to 125. This is what roughly estimates are. And for this, we need a compound growth rate of 9%. Why 9, I say? Because at present, our capital output ratio, according to Harrod-Domer model, is around 5.1. Some call it 5.3, some call it 5.1. The statistics is between this. And so, if we have to multiply 5 by 9, that means we have to invest 45% of the present gross domestic production to reach to that level. 45% of gross domestic production shall be invested if we have to get that point. Why we need to get to that point, वो उसको हम discuss करेंगे, that I'll discuss a bit later. But let us try to understand how much can we invest. ठीक है ना? Our present savings, so household savings are nearly 24, 25, something like that. And the government savings are negative for certain reasons, you know. The public sector savings are there. The foreign investment is there. So it is around 31%. From 31% to 45% is not only a jump, it's a quantum jump. Can we reduce consumption at this point of time to reach to that level? Can foreign investment rise to that level? This is another important thing that we have to think of, because at present 2% of the GDP's foreign investment that is coming, and that is also declining now. It's not increasing. For last 2 years, it has declined a bit because of America's tantrum. You know, they start changing the Fed rate, so people start investing in America instead of in India. So that's not easy. But the greater problem is there. There are certain states, for example, Telangana, for example, Karnataka, they have a per capita income of $4,000. So they need only a rate of 6%. And a rate of 6% can easily be achieved because their gross domestic savings are higher than that. But we also have a state like Bihar, where the per capita income is hardly 1,600. Means it needs a growth rate of around 18 to 19% per annum. And with their gross domestic savings, that means GSDP savings, it's so low. How is it possible that can we reach? There are so much of regional variations that we cannot think of that each state would be able to do it. So we have to think of a nation as such. We cannot think that Bihar should also reach to that level and others should also be able to reach that other. So we have to think in a different manner, because 9% growth seems not only difficult but very difficult. Compound rate of growth, there are so many political things, geographical things that come into picture. Russia-Ukraine war is still not over. Our friends and others, so they are not still over. There are other geographical and other things. Trump may push some tariffs up, so our exports might go down. Our balance of trade is already in a great deficit. We are having very large deficits in so many years, and despite our growth in service exports, our total balance of payment is always negative for almost 70 years or so. Moreover, look at the past history. In the past history, our total growth between 1950 to 1990 has been around 4.5%, and from 1990, since we have adopted these policies of liberalization, our growth is around 6.4% or something like that. So from 6.4 to reach to 9%, we need tremendous kind of savings, foreign investment, and so many other things. But now the question is per capita income the only basis of reaching to a higher place? For example, Qatar is a very, very high per capita income. There are many other countries which have a very high per capita income. Can they be called developed? The concept of development is not related to that of growth. Growth is only one aspect of it. We deal more on it, keep on dwelling more and more on this, but this is not correct, because development is also social, is also political, is also geographical, that means environmental. That means we talk of demography, we talk of democracy, we talk of environment, we talk of social harmony, we talk of other kind of harmonies. All these things need to be discussed. We cannot think of one. If you look in 1950s, what India was and what India is, from ship to mouth, we are a food exporting country. So development has been done, but to reach to a particular level, shall that be called development? This is where I differ to many people, that why shall we think of Viksit Bharat as one where per capita income shall be at least $18,000? Even China is said to be one of the leading economies at present of time, but even China's per capita income is around 14,000, something like that. That they are higher middle income, but they are not yet in that level. But then development of technology in China, development of infrastructure in China, development of other things in China. Shall we take only per capita income? But the problem is that whatever field we think, India needs to evolve. The evolution is more important. Instead of talking the term growth, we should talk of something like evolution. You cannot put a certain height. For example, today $18,004. Tomorrow it may be $20,000. Now these kind of facts and figures, Rostov was at least better when he said more than 20%. He never said it shall be 27.3% or something like that. So what we need to, what we can, and what we should, these are the things that we are going to discuss in this. I just wanted to make clear a blueprint that Viksit Bharat shall not only be related with the per capita income or per capita consumption. Again, why I shall call this, I have great problems in my hand. Per capita income is something not national. Rashtriya Phal Aam, we share something with it. राष्ट्रीय फूल कमल, वी शेयर विद समथिंग विद इट. पर कैपिटा इनकम इज नॉट दैट वी शेयर विद. अगर भारत के 10 बड़े घरानों की आमदनी को हटा दें जीडीपी में से, तो भारत की पर कैपिटा इनकम 2300 से घटकर 1800 हो जाएगी. द टोटल जीडीपी विल कम डाउन बाय नियरली $1 ट्रिलियन. जो हम $3.87 ट्रिलियन कहते हैं, हम $2.87 ट्रिलियन पे आ जाएंगे. पर कैपिटा इनकम इज नॉट दैट वी गेट, एवरीबडी गेट्स इट. नो, इट्स हाईली कंसंट्रेटेड इन सर्टेन हैंड्स, है ना. आप कोई और रेशियो देखिए, यू विल फाइंड इट दैट दिस काइंड ऑफ achievement in per capita income has no meaning at all. Even in United States, there is a poverty of 4% at present. याद रखने की बात है, 1964 they started fighting against poverty. 1964, the most developed nation that we think of, although it is not. But if we even think of that, still they have a poverty rate of 4%, an unemployment rate of 7%. तो विकसित के लिए पर कैपिटा इनकम, देन अगेन all the petrol producing countries will become the developed countries. Not at all. We need to think in terms of different standards. And standards का मतलब ये है कि we have to create certain standards that we think of. For example, population. Demography is one of the best measures. I won't say the only measure, but it is one of the best measures. For example, if life expectancy is high, what does it mean? It simply means so many things. That means a large population is getting nutritious food, because otherwise they cannot survive. They have a good medical and diagnostic centers, because otherwise people will not survive that long. आप तो जानते हैं ना, India's life expectancy at independence was 35. Today it is 70. We have doubled it in last 70 years. आज की डेफिनेशन क्या है? इट शैल बी 80. कल 80 पर पहुंच जाएंगे, इट विल बिकम 85. व्हाट आई मीन टू से इज, दिस इज नॉट द फैक्ट कि एक ही चीज से हम निकालने की कोशिश करें, बट लाइफ एक्सपेक्टेंसी इज वन ऑफ द इंपॉर्टेंट मेजर्स. लेकिन लुक एट द बर्थ रेट एंड डेथ रेट्स, द वाइटल स्टैटिस्टिक्स. कहां पर था इंडिया? बर्थ रेट एट द टाइम ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंस वाज 45. टुडे इट इज 16. Much better than so many countries in the world, the so-called developed countries in the world. Death rate देखिए, ours is 16. All India, all global average is 17.5. तो इसका मतलब क्या है? Medically या nutrition wise, we have improved, but the improvement is not sufficient. इसीलिए मैं कहता हूं, development is never able to, we cannot get, this is like a precipice. ये एक ऐसा पत्थर है, एक ऐसी चट्टान है जिस पर आप चढ़ना चाहे चढ़ सकते हैं, बट यू विल कम डाउन, फिसल के गिरी जाएंगे. व्हाई सो? बिकॉज देयर आर सो मेनी थिंग्स. इन इंडिया में द एनीमिक वुमेन आर 40%. नाउ दिस इज नॉट आवर स्टैटिस्टिक्स. सारी स्टैटिस्टिक्स तो हमको यूएनडीपी देता है, यूनाइटेड नेशंस डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम देता है, ये हमारी तो होती नहीं स्टैटिस्टिक्स कोई भी. स्टंटिंग इन इंडिया इज 35%. वेस्टिंग इज 27%. ऑन द अदर हैंड, मोटापा is also high in India. Now we cannot think of a human race जहां पर वेस्टिंग नहीं होगी. But then this wasting and stunting, ये जो हमारे आंकड़े हैं, are they real? मैं इस बात को क्यों दोहरा रहा हूं? क्योंकि आफ्टर पॉपुलेशन आई गो टू सर्टेन एस्पेक्ट्स जो आपको लगेगा कि वी आर डिस्कसिंग ए टॉपिक इन विच वी डोंट थिंक दैट शैल बी डिस्कस्ड इन दिस मैनर. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, स्टंटिंग. हाइट के ऊपर कितनी होनी चाहिए? द हाइट ऑफ जाट्स एंड द हाइट ऑफ बिहारीज इज नॉट कंपेरेबल. द हाइट ऑफ पठान्स इज नॉट कंपेरेबल टू दैट ऑफ बंगालीज. बट पूरी दुनिया के लिए एक मानक कैसे हो सकता? हाउ कैन वी स्टैंडर्डाइज वन? कहते हैं ना, वन शू फिट्स ऑल, या एक मेडिसिन से सारी चीज का इलाज कर देना. दिस इज नॉट पॉसिबल. तो हमारे यहाँ की स्टंटिंग इज डिफरेंट, हमारे यहाँ की वेस्टिंग इज डिफरेंट, हमारे यहाँ की एनीमिया इज डिफरेंट. हमारे यहाँ एनीमिया की डेफिनेशन दूसरी होनी चाहिए ना. In our country, 11.2 for a woman is not anemic for various reasons. हमारे यहाँ की महिलाएं 102 बुखार पर कितना काम कर सकती है, you just can't imagine. तो हर जगह की पेशेंस, सहन शक्ति, काम करने की क्षमता, क्लाइमेट, हर जगह की डिफरेंट होती है. You cannot compare these things in the world. पॉपुलेशन में अगर आप देखें तो our growth has been miraculous. Miraculous in the sense कि we have reached to such heights जहां पर हम पहुंच गए हैं. अगर हमको थोड़ा सा ही तो आगे बढ़ना है, 84 इज साउथ कोरिया, 82 इज जापान। लेकिन फिर वहां देखिए ना, जापान की एवरेज इज 48, हमारी एवरेज इज 28। दिस इज कॉल्ड पॉपुलेशन डिविडेंड। आवर डिपेंडेंसी रेशियो इज लेस देन 22, देयर डिपेंडेंसी रेशियो इज ग्रेटर देन 43। उनके यहां काम करने वाले नहीं, हमारे पास काम करने वाले लोग मौजूद हैं। आर दिस कंट्रीज कंपेरेबल? मैंने केवल पॉपुलेशन डेमोग्राफिक्स की बात कर रहा हूं। इन पॉपुलेशन डेमोग्राफिक्स इंडिया इज मूविंग मच मच अहेड, बहुत आगे बढ़ गया है। इट हैज रीच टू वेरी हाई लेवल्स ना। आप वैसे भी इंडिया की बात करें, टेक्नोलॉजी की बात करें, दुनिया में हम पहले 5 देशों में आते हैं, इंजीनियर्स, ऐसी ऐसी एरियाज। बट नाउ यू स्टार्ट कंपेयरिंग इन अ डिफरेंट मैनर कि साहब एआई में चाइना हैज क्रिएटेड डीप सीक, वी हैव नॉट क्रिएटेड इट, ओनली यूएसए एंड चाइना हैज बीन एबल टू डू इट। इन चंद्रयान इंडिया हैज बीन एबल टू डू, सम अदर्स हैव नॉट बीन एबल टू डू। देखिए, ऐसा नहीं होता कि हर चीज में आपकी ग्रोथ एक जैसी ही होगी, इट्स नॉट पॉसिबल। किसी भी देश को किसी दूसरे देश से कंपेयर नहीं करना चाहिए। तो विकसित भारत की जो पुरानी परिभाषाएं हैं कि 0.8 होगा ह्यूमन डेवलपमेंट इंडेक्स, देन वी विल कॉल्ड अ डेवलप्ड कंट्री, और 0.78 होगा तो नहीं पहुंचेंगे। दिस इज नॉट करेक्ट। 0.8 कोई स्टैंडर्ड मानक नहीं है। इट्स नॉट लाइक फीवर के 98.4 के बाद फीवर हो जाएगा। इट्स नॉट लाइक एनी फिजिकल और मेडिकल ट्रीटमेंट। तो हम जो कहना चाहते हैं विकसित भारत के बारे में, दैट इज इंटायरली डिफरेंट। आई स्टार्ट विद सिंपल थिंग। जब मैं अमरनाथ चढ़ने गया तो आई सॉ दी हाइट, तो वहां पर जो पुलिस वाले और सिपाही लोग खड़े थे, उन्होंने कहा सर आप चढ़ते चले जाइए, पहुंच जाएंगे वहां। अगर आप ऊपर देखेंगे तो आप कभी नहीं पहुंचेंगे, यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू रीच देयर इफ यू लुक एट दैट हाइट। व्हाट यू हैव टू डू इज डिफरेंट। आपको स्टार्ट करना है मूवमेंट, और विच इंडिया हैज स्टार्टेड। इसमें कहीं कोई डाउट किसी के दिमाग में नहीं होना चाहिए दैट इंडिया हैज स्टार्टेड मूविंग इनटू अ हाई ग्रोथ जोन। इंडीड 1990 से पहले और 1990 से 2020 के बाद कोरोना आ गया, वी कैन नॉट से दैट, है ना। कोरोना में तो पता नहीं क्या क्या व्हाट हैपेंड। तो उसके बाद पूरी दुनिया में बर्थ रेट बढ़ गई। अभी इसके स्टैटिस्टिक्स सामने नहीं आ रही है। पूरी दुनिया की बर्थ रेट जो थी 0.7 के आसपास, सॉरी 7 चलती थी, इसमें 8 हो गई, 9 हो गई, क्योंकि नेचुरली कोरोना में घर से बाहर नहीं गए। तो दिस इज डिफरेंट ना। कोई ऐसी चीज आ जाएगी ना, फिर लड़ाइयां आ जाएंगी, कुछ और आ जाएगा। हमको तो सिर्फ ये करना है कि व्हाट वी हैव टू थिंक। देखिए, थिंकिंग में 4-5 बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट चीजें जिनके बारे में आई वुड लाइक टू डिस्कस। वन इज वेरी सिंपल, गवर्नेंस। यहां पर वी डू लैक समथिंग। सिंपली गवर्नेंस वी लैक समथिंग। मैं हरियाणा गया था, आई सॉ ब्यूटीफुल थिंग्स, बहुत अच्छा लगा। हरियाणा गवर्नेंस भी बहुत अच्छी हो सकती है, बट द गवर्नेंस ऑफ अदर स्टेट्स में नॉट बी दैट गुड। द गवर्नेंस एज सच इज नॉट दैट गुड। गवर्नेंस को भी कोई मानक नहीं है, देयर इज नो स्टैंडर्ड। करप्शन के रेट में वी आर 106 आउट ऑफ 149। वीमेन एम्पावरमेंट इंडेक्स में वी आर वेरी वेरी लो बिकॉज ऑफ वेरियस रीजंस। तो एक गवर्नेंस एंड पॉलिटिकल स्टेबिलिटी हमारे देश में, नो डाउट। जिस भी राज्य में आप देख लीजिए, जल्दी अब मध्यावधि चुनाव नहीं होते, देयर इज पॉलिटिकल स्टेबिलिटी इवन एट द लोअर लेवल, एट द पंचायत लेवल, एट द रीजनल लेवल, ब्लॉक लेवल वी हैव। बट दिस पॉलिटिकल स्टेबिलिटी हैज बीन ब्रॉट एट a very high cost. Similarly, the social governance, naturally यहां पर भी बहुत काम करने की जरूरत है। द प्रॉब्लम कहां है उसके बारे में हमको सोचना पड़ेगा। उस प्रॉब्लम के बारे में आई नो हिंटिंग एट, बिकॉज आई नो कि आप लोगों को बहुत सारे बढ़िया बढ़िया लेक्चर सुनने के लिए मिले, बट आई टेल यू एटलीस्ट 2-3 थिंग्स जहां के बारे में मुझे लगता है कि इंडिया की जो ग्रोथ है उस पर बहुत चिंता करने की जरूरत नहीं है। क्वांटम जंप जैसे शब्दों का इस्तेमाल करने की जरूरत नहीं है। वी विल ग्रो एंड दिस रेट ऑफ ग्रोथ इज लाइकली टू रिमेन हाई। ये किसी आप इवन आईएमएफ का आउटलुक में देखिए, जिसको मैं मानना ही नहीं चाहता, इंडिया इज लाइकली टू ग्रो एट अ रेट ऑफ 6% प्लस फॉर नेक्स्ट 5 years। उसके आगे का सोचना ही नहीं ना, वी कैन नॉट थिंक ऑफ दैट एंड नो अदर कंट्री इज लाइकली टू अचीव दिस। और इसको भी याद रखना है, इंडिया का बेस इज मच हायर देन मोस्ट ऑफ द कंट्रीज इन द वर्ल्ड, एंड टू ग्रो एट 6% एट इंडियाज बेस इज मच इंपॉर्टेंट देन अदर्स। तो ग्रोथ के बारे में बहुत मत सोचिए। दिस इज ट्रू, अगर केक का साइज बड़ा नहीं होगा तो डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन प्रॉपर नहीं होगा। दिस इज व्हाट वेल्थ ऑफ नेशंस इज। तो अगर देश में पॉपुलेशन है तो पॉवर्टी है, तो यू हैव टू इंक्रीज द साइज ऑफ द केक। बट द इंक्रीज ऑफ 6% per annum is quite high because our population is growing at a rate of 1% now. Although 1% is not less, हर साल अगर 1% से भी ग्रो करते हैं तो 1.5 करोड़ लोग जुड़ जाते हैं, लेकिन हमारी जो ग्रोथ है 6%, दिस इज 6 टाइम्स द ग्रोथ ऑफ द पॉपुलेशन। तो ग्रोथ बहुत मत सोचिए, बट व्हाट वी हैव टू थिंक इज, हम नहीं कह रहे कि इंडस्ट्री मत सोचिए, कि इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर मत सोचिए। इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इन इंडिया इज ग्रोइंग लाइक एनीथिंग। कंस्ट्रक्शन इज द हाईएस्ट एरिया इन विच आवर एम्प्लॉयमेंट इज गोइंग ऑन। प्रॉब्लम 2-3 जगहों पर है जिसको गवर्नमेंट को भी सोचना पड़ेगा और हमको आपको भी सोचना पड़ेगा। व्हाट आर दीज एरियाज ऑफ प्रॉब्लम्स? वी कॉल दिस सोशल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर। Our industrial base, although not that high, manufacturing base, although that not high, मान लेता हूं मैं, आपकी सारी बातें मान लेता हूं, but think of the social infrastructure, think of the education, think of the health, and think of the insurance. इन एरियाज में जरा सोचिए तो आपको लगेगा there are large areas to be covered. एजुकेशन में हम नहीं कंपेयर करना चाहते, वी डोंट वांट टू कंपेयर इट विद जर्मनी और जापान बिकॉज दे आर वेरी स्मॉल कंट्रीज, वी कैन नॉट कंपेयर विद देम, है ना। हमारे यहाँ तो एट दिस पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम पीपल बिटवीन 15 to 25, इतनी बड़ी पॉपुलेशन है, राइट। सब हायर एजुकेशन में चले जाएं, अगर 33% लोग जैसा सरकार सोचती है दे गो इनटू हायर एजुकेशन, probably I do not know how many colleges and universities will be required. It's not the amount of university and colleges that are required, it is the quality that is important. Are the universities, are the new colleges like the old colleges able to provide good education, have good laboratories with them, have good teachers with them, have the facilities that a student requires? देखिए एजुकेशन, हर जिले में आप एक एम्स खोल दीजिए, बट दैट इज नॉट एम्स. एम्स शुड मीन that it must have specialized surgeons, medicine doctors and others in every field. For a AIMS you need at least 339 very qualified teachers. To open AIMS in every state is very difficult. To open AIMS in every district, to open a university in every district, is it required? करना क्या है? We don't want to increase quantity only. What we need is to increase the quality as well. It is the quality education that we are lacking. The problem is that our education system is such that we are producing graduates. ना, लेकिन आप चुटकुले तो सुनते हैं ना व्हाट्सएप पे। बिहार में एक आदमी आया कि साहब मुझे छुट्टी दे दिए, गांव जाना है, मैं बंबई में। तो बंबई में मालिक ने पूछा भाई क्यों जाना है, तुम तो 4 साल से नौकरी कर रहे हो। सर मैं वहां बीए पास हो गया हूँ। रहते बंबई में थे, बीए पास हो गए, कभी इम्तिहान भी देने नहीं गए। Now this is maybe a joke, perfectly a joke, but certainly I tell you that there are many colleges and universities which shall not be actually giving the degrees to the students because the students do not go to the colleges, do not attend the universities, do not do anything. तो हमारा काम केवल क्वांटिटी बढ़ाकर दिखाना नहीं है ना। किसी इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट से पूछिए, अगर आपके पास अभी आ जाए कि सर हमको 2 ईमानदार बढ़िया आदमी दे दीजिए who are at least trained in typing or in computers, हम उनको नौकरी दे देंगे, you will not be able to find 2 of your friends. Why that? The simple reason is कि we are not able to provide the things that they require. कंप्यूटर दे देने से काम नहीं चलेगा ना, एआई दे देने से काम नहीं चलेगा ना, एआई से सारे आंसर मिलने से भी काम नहीं चलेगा ना। ये दिमाग को भी तो काम करना पड़ेगा, शरीर को भी तो काम करना पड़ेगा। Who is nurturing this mind and body? This body needs to be nurtured by the food, nutrition and everything. The mind needs to be nurtured by teachers, by classrooms, by classmates and everyone. The problem is somewhere different. We are thinking in other direction. Think of health. हम कह रहे हैं कि हमारे पास इतनी एनीमिक वीमेन है। हमारे देश में क्या इतनी आयरन की गोली हम नहीं बनाते कि हम वीमेन को दे सके? It's not that. We do make it. But the only problem is how to reach to them. हमने फूड पैराडाइज इकट्ठे कर लिए हैं और फूड डिजर्ट्स इकट्ठे कर लिए। इन सिटी इन स्विगी गेट एवरीथिंग एवरीवेयर, बट इन रूरल एरियाज व्हाट इज हैपनिंग देयर? एंड द थर्ड, इंश्योरेंस आल्सो। थिंक ऑफ द लार्जेस्ट अमाउंट ऑफ वर्कर्स, गिग वर्कर्स, इनफॉर्मल वर्कर्स। जरा देखिए तो एक बार आप लेबर फोर्स पार्टिसिपेशन रेट के आंकड़ों को खोलकर देख लीजिए, आपको भारत का नक्शा नजर आ जाएगा। द लेबर फोर्स पार्टिसिपेशन रेट सेज that participation of women in total labor force is 32%. बहुत ज्यादा है। It was 23% 10 साल पहले, 32%। लेकिन है कहां? कोई आदमी मानेगा ही नहीं, सोचेगा ही नहीं इन women are more employed in rural areas. Employment में माने जहां कैश सैलरी मिलती है. 34% women in rural areas are employed and in only 28% to 29% in urban areas. एक तो 32% ही कम है, पर उनका डायरेक्शन किधर जा रहा है. दूसरी रिपोर्ट क्या कहती है? Only 10% of the people in this labor force participation ratio get an income of more than 10,000. हम कहते हैं इनकम टैक्स पेयर्स की संख्या घट गई और घटा दिया. We have only 3 crores. अरे इनकम होगी तब तो इनकम टैक्स देंगे. You cannot force income tax like that. We are forced to move towards other side. तो हमारे कहने का मतलब है गिग वर्कर्स 9 करोड़ गिग वर्कर्स विदाउट एनी काइंड ऑफ इंश्योरेंस. इतनी बड़ी बड़ी इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज. द पेनिट्रेशन इन रूरल एरियाज हैज हार्डली 2%, 3%. देखिए एरियाज माने देयर इज एन एरिया ऑफ सोशल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, इकोनॉमिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, इरिगेशन, transport. We have Vande Bharats, we have highways, we have all kind of things. Every village is now almost connected to every other places. So I'm not saying that we have not developed, but economic infrastructure is not the development of India. The India needs to develop socially as well. फिर ज्योग्राफी के बारे में भी सोचना पड़ेगा. 1% अगर बढ़ गई हमारी गर्मी तो 7% फूड कम हो जाएगा. 7% फूड कम. And we have not been able to do anything to that. हर साल अब तूफान आने लगे जो 15 साल बाद आते थे. There are certain areas जिसमें हमको, मैं फिर से कहता हूं, we do not need $18,400. No, we don't need it. अगर हमारी इनकम आज अगर 2400 है, इससे 4800 लोगों को मिलने लग जाए ना, we will be very very happy. कहां दिक्कत है? It's not that our incomes are less. The opportunities that we get, the social network that we have, इनके बारे में सोचना पड़ेगा. So development is not only per capita income, is not only infrastructure, is not irrigation, it is not even electricity. It is something more. And that aspect now, when we talk of Viksit Bharat, we shall say that all communities, all societies have opportunity to work. They have also work, and a work which is dignified, a work which also at least allows them to feed their families, educate their families, so that the future of India grows. हम और आप नहीं रहेंगे 10 साल बाद, 15 साल बाद, 5 साल बाद. कौन रहेगा ये देखना है, उनके लिए सोचना है ना. वी हैव टू थिंक इन अ डिफरेंट मैनर. उनको आमदनी कितनी मिलेगी वो तो बात की बात है. अगर दिल्ली में आमदनी बढ़ रही है फॉर सिक्योरिटी गार्ड्स एंड हाउस होल्ड वर्कर्स, हाउस होल्ड कोर करने वाली महिलाओं की, व्हाट डज इट मीन? एक महिला 5 घर जाकर एक बिल्डिंग में काम करती है एंड शी गेट्स 15,000 to 18,000 रुपीज. इज इट डिग्निफाइड वर्क? इज इट सेल्फ सफिशिएंट वर्क? मैं इस वर्क को खराब नहीं कह रहा हूं. दिस इज ऑल्सो ए वर्क. इससे अगर वो अपने बच्चों को पढ़ाकर अपने फ्यूचर को जनरेट कर सकती है, दिस इज अगेन गुड. तो व्हाट आई एम सेइंग इज इंटायरली डिफरेंट. मेरे कहने का मतलब है कि व्हेन वी टॉक ऑफ डेवलप्ड भारत, think in some different manners and do remember, always we think of government. Modi ji ने ये कहा, इन्होंने ये कहा. They can say, they can do certain things, they can allocate funds, they can do so many things. Naturally they are policy makers, they are rent seekers. हमसे टैक्स लेकर किसी को बांटेंगे ही. And they are investing in right areas, they are investing in infrastructure. लेकिन पिछले सालों में हमारे इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को क्या हुआ? Where are our entrepreneurs? Where are they? Our exports are not rising. Our manufacturing has come down from 15 to 13.2%, while all over Japan and others it is more than 30%, 35%. In China it is 39%. हमारा आज भी प्राइमरी सेक्टर, टर्शियरी सेक्टर, आपको हैरानी होगी ना, हम लोगों को आंकड़े दिखने चाहिए, हैरानी होगी. You will be hard able to find it that after Corona, agriculture labor force has increased. पहले वहां 42% था, 44% हो गया. एक बेसिक डेफिनेशन है अर्बनाइजेशन एंड इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन, टेक्नोलॉजिकल अपग्रेडेशन. दिस इज डेवलपमेंट. टेक्नोलॉजिकल अपग्रेडेशन इज ऑल राइट. वेयर इज इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन? वेयर इज मैन्युफैक्चरिंग? वेयर आर द पीपल मूविंग फ्रॉम रूरल एरियाज टू अर्बन एरियाज? एंड वेयर आर दीज पीपल गेटिंग जॉब्स? Why not our manufacturing has been able to compete? Not, I'm not talking to China. No, let's debate it. लेकिन हमारे imports देखिए ना, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के imports कितने और exports कितने? Our manufacturing exports are nearly 28 billion and imports are 98 billions. माने हम अपने लिए तो पैदा नहीं कर पा रहे ना. तो हमारे एंटरप्रेन्योर्स कहाँ गए? बड़े बड़े बिजनेसमैन हैं, दे आर सो मेनी बिग बिजनेसमैन। स्टार्टअप्स कितने हो गए? 1.5 लाख। एमएसएमईज कितने? 30 लाख, तो 30 मिलियन, जितने भी समझिए। लेकिन कहाँ हो रहा है? तो हमको थोड़ा डाइवर्सिफिकेशन के बारे में सोचना पड़ेगा। डाइवर्सिफिकेशन इन जॉब्स, इन एजुकेशन स्किल्स, इन अदर थिंग्स। तो जो हम भारत की बात करेंगे, तो वी कैन नॉट डिपेंड ऑन द गवर्नमेंट्स, वी हैव टू थिंक इन ए डिफरेंट मैनर। हमारा आउटरीच प्रोग्राम, आज आपने एक प्रोग्राम करा, इसमें आपने बताया 286 लोग जुड़ गए। हम एक आउटरीच प्रोग्राम बना सकते हैं। हमारे पास इतने महाविद्यालय हैं कि वी कैन टेक एटलीस्ट ए विलेज एंड वी कैन डेवलप इट। वी कैन। ये एक्सटेंशन प्रोग्राम्स कब से भारत सरकार बना रही है, लेकिन कितने बना पाते हैं? I think I can speak a lot, but I was given probably 35 to 40 minutes. I may be coming to an end. क्योंकि मैं, when I start speaking, I'm sorry I speak a lot, but I'm really very sorry that I could not complete what I wanted to say. But I'll join again. Whatever questions and other things could be raised, I'll be able to answer them. I think I should finish now. मैं अपनी वाणी को विराम देता हूँ. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable insights. You have presented the concept of Viksit Bharat critically by quoting so many real examples. Sir, we are very lucky to hear you. Sir, your insightful and thought-provoking insights have broadened our understanding of the challenges and opportunities facing our nation. Thank you very much, sir. Now I request Chief Guest, Dr. Madan Mohan Goyal ji, for his address. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Ritu Walia. I'm grateful to Dr. Suraj Walia and Dr. Manmohan Krishna, my great friend, who has made you understand how we have to perceive Viksit Bharat. As already I have been speaking on Viksit Bharat at various places. My PPT is clear to you? Is it visible? Are you able to see my PPT?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me do it. I have chosen my issues for this Viksit Bharat from different perspectives. As my friend Dr. Manmohan Krishna was referring to you, that how we have to...
Yes, sir, it's visible. Yes,
Viksit
yes, sir.
Bharat,
Yes,
and
sir.
from that point of view, I have come out the conceptualization, which I have been doing for the last many years, Gita-inspired neuronomics, for overcoming the challenges pointed out by Dr. Suraj Walia and my friend Professor Manmohan Krishna ji, and finding out, seizing the opportunities and charting the roadmap, which I look forward for explaining to you this morning. For Vision Viksit Bharat, we have to understand Bharat. Let me share my concern with you that many of us have not been able to understand Bharat and India. People have been making out this confusion, and this question was raised by me in civil services a few years back, and most of the people came out that Bharat lives in villages and India lives in cities. Whereas, particularly to develop a vision for Viksit Bharat, we must understand Bharat as Ba means knowledge, Rat means seeker. Bharat is a knowledge seeker economy, more than independent nation declared in August 1947, which is the definition of India in most of the dictionaries available in the country. India's vision for Viksit Bharat requires a paradigm shift from conventional Western economic models to Gita-inspired neuronomics, offering solutions to the challenges posed by greedonomics, economics of greed. Let me share with you, whenever we are facing the problems around the world, whether you talk of terrorism, war of words, practical wars, discrimination, discontent, all these are problems of economics of greed, and the solution lies in Gita-inspired neuronomics. So far challenges are concerned, Suraj Walia and Dr. Manmohan Krishna has pointed out many things. My friend Manmohan Krishna has drawn the attention that practically for Viksit Bharat, we must think in terms of population also. And I believe that overpopulation without proper data, including careless and careless and useless to be made careful and useful. This is the most important challenge in case we are aspiring to be Viksit Bharat toward 2047. Therefore, these various categories of stakeholders presently, Prime Minister is talking of, and the Finance Minister has given the Union Budget 2026, and we are talking in terms of a middle class to be taken care of for the Viksit Bharat. For opportunities to be created for becoming global citizens, we must understand this Gita-based neuronomics of LIC of India, Yogam Kshemam Mahamyam. Dr. Manmohan Krishna will agree with me that your welfare is a responsibility, is the claim of life insurance. And recently, Prime Minister has come out with the Bima Sakhi Yojana. I don't know whether it is going to take it to the women empowerment, but it is certainly going to have a fortune for LIC of India if it goes becoming a multinational company and can solve the problems. I believe that the alternative solution of becoming Viksit Bharat for the indicators which Dr. Manmohan Krishna has pointed out for Viksit Bharat, we must adopt this neuronomics as a common sense approach which is ethical, non-violent, environmental friendly, and spiritual in nature. To my mind, neuronomics is the lighthouse of Gita, a roadmap in the domain of Indian knowledge system for holistic development mandated in National Education Policy 2020, developed in 66 pages and 27 headings. And let me tell you, from 9 to 7 headings are concentrated on higher education, which has a special role to play for becoming Viksit Bharat. To ensure sustainable development in contemporary world, we have to understand and adopt neuronomics in totality, with includes neuroconsumption, neuro-saving, neuro-production, neuro-investment, neuro-distribution, altruism, and neuro-trade. And from that perspective, we have to understand this 360-degree development of neuronomics, which is required for all the stakeholders. When Union Budget 2025-26 was talked of by the Finance Minister in the Parliament, she was talking of that we are considering some concessions to be given to middle class so that we can think of solving the problem of demand which is required to be created for becoming Viksit Bharat. And she was repeatedly saying it that we have to go in for basically fetching fortune from the role of middle class in conceptualizing it. But let me tell you, consumption investment paradox is a phenomena which has to be addressed practically for becoming Viksit Bharat. Therefore, the Union Budget 2025-6 was necessary but not sufficient for Viksit Bharat. For that, we have to understand consumption as righteous consumption, mindful consumption, and we have to increase marginal propensity to consume of the people who are already had. We have to increase the consumption. And so far, the point of view talked about by Dr. Manmohan Krishna, particularly for Viksit Bharat, we must go for domestic saving rate, which is always 10% China, lesser than that. Therefore, in case you want to become Viksit Bharat and to maintain the growth rate of 10%, for that we have to increase domestic saving rate. Without this, it is not possible. And need of production is talked by the producers, and for that, Make in India, Skill India, then the Viksit Bharat is talking of even startup schemes. But let me honestly tell you, although manufacturing sector has higher elasticity for employment, but at the same time, we cannot compete with China or other countries practically to sell our products. Therefore, neither qualitative consciousness nor quantitative is possible without going in for simply developing entrepreneurship in services, which is more important than entrepreneurship in manufacturing, where we are not able to compete, whether we are talking of Make in India, Skill India, or startup schemes. Neto distribution by the distributor. Yes, this is a solution. Practically, we have to create demand for our products. And from that point of view, in the neuronomics domain, I have been talking of first creating the need of our products, which has to be sold to the people. We have to make it affordable and price worth of it. That is called NAW approach of marketing, which is required to be adopted by the people around the country so that we can solve the problem. Need to trade for traders, including exporters, as Dr. Manmohan Krishna was talking about, has highlighted. Therefore, this 3-degree development of neuronomics in all the sectors for neuroconsumption, neuroproduction, neurodistribution, and neurotrade are relevant to be understood, analyzed, interpreted, and adopted for becoming Viksit Bharat in totality. The traditional models of progress often prioritize material growth, technological innovation, and economic expansion, leading to environmental degradation and social inequalities. The Western economic model versus neonomics has to be debated in right perspectives for understanding the needs and requirement for Viksit Bharat. Four pillars of Viksit Bharat, as Dr. Suraj Waria was telling, and for that we must understand Bha means knowledge, Rat means seeker, Yuva demographic dividend has been talking about. I believe that it may not become demographic disaster in case we are not able to implement national education policy in right perspective for creativity, innovativeness, and critical thinking. Garib, poor we talk about, and very sorry to say that nobody bothers of middle class, which has to be taken into account for solving the problems of people around the country, whether we talk of inflation, whether we talk of creating demand. Mahila, women has been talked of. Annadata farmers have been struggling, and let me tell you, yeah, even there is no agitation going on for farmers in Delhi, but still there is a barricades which are creating problems for the travelers, and a lot of money is being wasted on the petroleum consumption. Therefore, the government should think of becoming Viksit Bharat not by simply saying Annadata, but they have to address their issues amicably and come out with the solutions. The key strategies for Viksit Bharat has been considered revitalizing indigenous industries, strengthening NIDO infrastructure, digital economy and innovation, green growth and sustainability, institutional and legal reforms, collaboration in research and development. And let me tell you, before achieving Viksit Bharat, we have to achieve Sustainable Development Goals 2030, and 5 of the 17 targets have been mentioned is related to quality education and their learning outcomes, which calls for fine-tuning of education under Indian knowledge system. Performing of our work skillfully is Karam Yog with concentration, Dhyan Yog, and without attachment to the outcome as Gyan Yog is to be understood as Yog. Union Budget 2025-26 is a necessary but not sufficient strategy for Viksit Bharat without addressing consumption investment paradox along with quantity and quality paradox mentioned by Professor Manmohan Krishna. And from that point of view, we have to align all these things with the conceptualization of needonomics, economics of needs, which has the practical solution practically to become Viksit Bharat. To ensure sustainable development in contemporary world, needonomics is necessary and sufficient with priority over and above gridonomics by imbibing the lessons from Gita and Anugita falling in the domain of Indian knowledge system. Be ready for all the challenges by becoming skillful, street smart, and simple individuals in case we have to play the role as consumers, producers, distributors, and traders in becoming Viksit Bharat. And from that point of view, we have to become the street smart stakeholders of Viksit Bharat, meaning thereby we need transparency, which has been talked of through RTI earlier, but nowadays artificial is the name of game and cyber crimes are taking place. We have to find out the solutions for that, and we have to be alert, aware, and awake. And let me tell you, we have to stop monkey mind of misusing artificial intelligence, and we have to convert a monk mind with spiritual intelligence for solving the problem of transparency, which is being talked about around the world today in terms of artificial intelligence. We need to be responsive. We have to solve our problems quickly instead of wasting our time like anything. The time has come when we have to adopt 24-hour 7 days model, and we have to stop this target oriented approach of wasting the resources in the name of spending money. We must learn to need to spend, need to save, and need to invest. Then only we can think of, and that calls for changing the financial year, which is practically starting on April 1st to 31st March. Instead of that, when we consider Bharat as a knowledge economy, we must think of starting from July 1st to June 30. And Arun Jaitley ji constituted a committee for changing the financial year, but which we have not seen it today. Therefore, the time has come again. In case we are dreaming to be Viksit Bharat, we have to change this financial year either to a calendar year, which is being talked about. But if we talk Indian economy as a knowledge economy, then our academic year starts on July 1st and it concludes on June 30. Even if Indian economy is an agriculture economy, then also our financial year should be from July 1st to June 30. Therefore, we have to replace this target-oriented approach of wasting the resources in the name of allocating the resources in various budget, including Union Budget 2020-25-6, and we have to replace it by action-oriented and result-oriented outcome-based approach, and that calls for morality, which is Artha Vidya Dharam, Shubh Labh. We talk about we have to pay taxes also, but at the same time, I wish to draw attention to the audience that the time has come. We have to think in terms of various indicators, and I don't hesitate to say that why not income taxpayers who constitute only 2.2% of the total population, why not they be declared as a minority in case we want to become Viksit Bharat, like we have to see other countries where how many people, around 70%, 80% people pay income taxes. And above all, and becoming a stakeholder, we need to think of becoming simple. And Mahatma Gandhi has been talking of simple living and high thinking. But I always say simple living and no thinking. No thinking is not required to be done, but being a disciple of Gita, the heart of Krishna, I always say, because we have a right on action, not on results. Therefore, simple living and no thinking is justified to become Viksit Bharat. And for that, we have to enhance our emotional quotient. Gone are the days when we were talking of IQ. IQ stand to become obsolete. Today, it is possessed by your smartphone and the laptop. Love oneself attitude is required to be developed, and we have to have health culture. My friend Dr. Manmohan Krishna was repeatedly saying it, that per capita income of $18,004 cannot lead us to Viksit Bharat. For that, we have to have Nido happiness and Nido health. Even HDI is not sufficient from that point of view. We have to learn something from a neighboring country, Bhutan, where gross happiness index is calculated. And from that point of view, we said that it is may not be nearer to the per capita income, but having gross happiness index, and that justifies we should go in for Nido health program. Here I want to draw your kind attention that recently in the month of June I was in Brazil, and people, instead of saying hello or shaking hands, they were going in for basically saying namaste and namaskar. And that is practically the positive impact of the COVID era, when WHO health protocol came for not shaking hands, not basically hugging, not going in for practically simply washing hands, or the protocol was wearing mask. But it has led to internationalization of Indianization. Today, namaste and namaskar becomes a development indicator, and India is basically respected around the world by calling namaste and namaskar. So mental level development has to be changed. As my friend Manmohan Krishna was repeatedly saying, we have to stop this war of words and blame game, and we have to change our looks, action and words to make it love the land, in case we are genuinely interested to become Viksit Bharat. And that justifies the conceptualization of Nidonomics towards Nido consumption, Nido saving and investment. I have an intuition that India is going to emerge as a world leader, may not be in terms of per capita income, may not be a 30 trillion economy, but because of the rate of progress in spirituality, we can be faster than the rate of progress in materialism, and nobody can stop us to become a knowledge economy, whether we are with artificial intelligence or we are with spiritual intelligence. And I believe that spiritual quotient development is most important indicator for becoming Viksit Bharat. So let me conclude the discussion which I was thinking to deliberate upon you for becoming Viksit Bharat. Gita inspired Nidonomics is a strategic move to foster a sense of identity and pride among all the stakeholders for a sustainable future. In knowledge economy, Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge, creativity, learning and wisdom, rules to help us generate Lakshmi, wealth and prosperity. Education of Nidonomics as a common sense approach is a necessary and sufficient condition for becoming Viksit Bharat. The simple solution to our problems caused by greedonomics, economics of greed, in present times lies in Nidonomics, to be understood in totality by Nido health, Nido wealth, Nido happiness, along with Nido consumption, Nido saving, Nido investment, Nido growth, Nido employability, Nido entrepreneurship, Nido trade, and Nido altruism as its domain in the Nido lifestyle. By integrating Nidonomics into policy making and governance, we can achieve sustainable development and balance economic progress with ethical responsibilities. To achieve success in our endeavors of Viksit Bharat, the stakeholders must convert monkey mind, misuse of artificial intelligence, to monk mind, use of spiritual intelligence. To script a new narrative of Viksit Bharat, we must become street smart, simple, moral, action-oriented, responsive, and transparent stakeholders. With these words, I am grateful to the organizers, Principal S.K. Goyal of RKSD College, Kathal, Dr. Suraj Walia, Ritu Walia, and the management for providing me this wonderful opportunity to share my thoughts with you this morning. Thank you very much. Ritu, are you listening? Ritu, I have concluded.
Dedicated to this seminar, I request for the principal sir, vice principal sir, and all the dignitaries kindly come on the dais for releasing the Economy India magazine. Department of Economics is highly thankful and indebted to Shri Manohar Manoj, Editor-in-Chief, Economy India magazine, for giving very soon it will be available online, and our organizing team will get it available, this issue, to all the participants after the seminar. Thank you very much all. First of all, I would like to express our sincere thanks to our chief guest, Professor Madan Mohan Goyal, former Vice Chancellor, StarX University, Gurugram, for accepting our humble invitation to be the chief guest in this seminar. Sir, your wonderful presentation and engaging discussion given us very insightful thoughts. I extend very sincere thanks to Manmohan Krishna, Niti Aayog Chair, Department of Economics, University of Allahabad, for delivering a very insightful, thought-provoking, great keynote speech, saying that we should not compare our nation with others. The concept is relative in terms. Thank you very much, sir. Now, for the plenary session, we move towards plenary session, and for this, I would like to hand over the stage to Dr. Suraj Walia.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ritu. So, thanks to everyone. Thanks to my mentor, Professor Madan Mohan Goyal. Thanks to Professor Manmohan Krishna for the wonderful opening of the session. And I have full hope that the seminar will prove a great success with the presence of your thoughts in such a way. So now we are moving towards the plenary session. We have 3 speakers in the plenary session. Professor Ritu Naran, Professor Ashwini, Professor Suman Kumar. So we are moving towards the introduction of the speakers. Professor Ritu Naran is the first speaker. Professor Ritu Naran is a professor of marketing, is a distinguished academician with more than 28 years of teaching experience in the Department of Management, University of Lucknow. She has served as the Director MBA, Retail Management and OSD Institute of Management Sciences. Twice, she has been a Senior Distinguished Fellow at Hankan School of Economics, Finland. Professor Naran was also invited as a Senior Distinguished Fellow at the Tianjin Normal University, China. She has successfully completed 1 global, 2 national, and 1 state level major research project sponsored by Hankan School of Economics, Finland, University Grants Commission, New Delhi, and the Uttar Pradesh state government, respectively. National her 51 research papers includes published by the various international publication houses such as Elsevier, Taylor and Francis, Sage, and the Indus Science. Professor Narang has authored 2 books and over 10 chapters in the books published by the reputed publishing houses. Professor Ritu Naran received the award for excellence in research from the University of Lucknow in this very year and also the earlier years. Her research papers won the Best Paper Award at the 5th Conference on Retailing in Asia Pacific, organized by the Oxford Institute of Retail Management in collaboration with Hong Kong Retail Technology Industry Association and ICG-TPSR 16th Conference organized by IIT Roorkee. So with these words, I request Madam Narang for her deliberation. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this wonderful introduction. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right. Okay, thank you so much. So fellow speakers, Professor Ashwini and Professor Suman Kumar, Principal RKSD College, Dr. S.K. Goyal ji, Head Department of Economics, RKSD College, Dr. Suraj Walia, delegates, research scholars and other distinguished guests, and dear students, यहाँ पर उपस्थित सभी जनों को मेरा सादर प्रणाम. So I take this opportunity to thank the organizers, especially Dr. Walia, for inviting me to this platform to share my thoughts on the conference theme. So frankly speaking, I'm both nervous and a little anxious today. Dr. Walia was very courteous. He was very polite when he was inviting me to this seminar. In fact, in his appreciation for me, he said that there were very positive comments and good feedback in my previous address in this seminar hosted by this college last year. So I'm kind of worried. If I don't get favorable feedback today, then I've lost all my future invites. So on a serious note, I want to really thank Dr. Suraj Walia once again for considering my request to interact with you all at 11:30 in the morning. Thank you so much. And it is with great pleasure and enthusiasm that I'd like to share my thoughts on a topic that holds immense significance not only for our country, but also for the global economic landscape. Viksit Bharat 2047. Challenges, opportunities, and roadmap. So whenever I think of what should my country be like, or what should a Viksit Bharat is or should be, I'm reminded of Shri Rabindranath Tagore's famous poem, which he wrote about 114 years back. I think it was in 1911, maybe you can correct me. So what vision did Shri Rabindranath Tagore ji have in his mind about our Bharat? He said in the poem, and I quote, "Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arm toward perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert, sand of dead habit, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake." So I think even after 114 years, these lines have profound meaning. What I have understood from these lines is that here, Dr. Tagore was focusing on inclusiveness, innovativeness, wisdom, rationale, equality, peaceful coexistence, freedom from nepotism, freedom from fear. How beautiful. This is how a Viksit Bharat should be like. But then, of course, this is the language of a poet. And this is not the English Literature Conference that has been organized by Department of Economics. So I think it would be prudent of me to discuss the concept of Viksit Bharat in those terms that are most suitable to the audience of this interest. So before I talk about Viksit Bharat, in very brief, I would like to share with you what is the meaning of Viksit Desh, or a developed nation in the international context. So what actually makes a country developed? You know, we wonder, why are some countries called developed nation? Why are others called developing? Still others are called underdeveloped. So this idea of classifying nations actually began in 1960s, and the idea was to really understand how probably the rich nations can assist the poorer ones. So what does it mean for a country to be developed? So there are different international perspectives. For example, if we look at the World Bank's classification of nations, how does World Bank do it? Well, it does it on the basis of income, or we can say it adopts an economic approach, which is totally a financial view of development. How much money a country earns per person. That is gross national income, or GNI per capita. So if we use this criteria, on the basis of that, we can classify countries into 4 categories. You have the low income countries, so which means countries where the per capita income is less than or is equivalent to $1,145. So I think if we translate that into Indian currency, it will be approximately 99,422 rupees per capita. So if we go by that classification, there are various countries like Somalia, Afghanistan, which would come under low-income countries. Then the second category would be lower middle income, which would range from $1,146 to $4,515 US dollars. So that would be approximately ranging from 99,500 approximately rupees to 3,92,000 rupees in Indian currency. So under this category, we have India, Nigeria, Pakistan, they all fall into this category. And then you have the upper middle income and the high income. So upper middle income would be, again, going beyond 3,92,130 on to 12,16,000 rupees per capita per annum. So here we have countries like Brazil, Mexico, China, and of course the high income groups would be those countries where the per capita income is more than $14,006. So USA, Germany, Japan, they all come under the categories of developed nations. So what this means is, from the perspective of World Bank, if India has to be developed by 2047, then per capita income in India should be more than 12,16,000 rupees. So is this the definition of developed? See, wealth alone cannot tell the full story, because what's the catch here? See, the catch is that, of course, the income-based system is very, very simple, but it doesn't tell us anything about the quality of life, right? A country can have very high income inequality also, which means that few people are earning a lot, while a larger chunk could still be, or millions of them could still be poor. I mean, take the case of Russia. Russia has a relatively high per capita income, but many citizens still lack access to quality healthcare and education. Look at Qatar. Qatar is one of the richest countries in the world if you talk in terms of income. But what about human rights? What about treatment of migrant workers? Those become concerns. So income alone cannot define development. Money alone cannot be the measure of a Viksit Desh or progress. Not really, actually. It could be one of the parameters, but it doesn't capture everything. So that's where UNDP steps in, that is United Nations Development Program. So that perhaps has a more holistic measure of Viksit Desh. I mean, if one wants to employ the statistics towards measuring whether a country is developed or not. So you have the HDI, the Human Development Index. So this is perhaps the more human approach. It's more than just money. It does have something about standard of living. The economic aspect comes into it, but it goes beyond the economic aspect. It's looking at the quality of human life. So there are three parameters which come under HDI index. Life expectancy, that means how long do you expect the people to live on an average? Number two, it talks about the education level, that how many years of schooling do people complete? Then third, it talks about the standard of living. How much does the average person earn? So, of course, various countries, they are ranked on a scale of 0 to 1. The closer the ranking is to 1, the more developed a country is. So definitely any country which is getting an HDI score above 0.8 is considered to be highly developed. In fact, countries in the top 25% of HDI rankings are generally considered to be developed, and countries in the bottom 25% are considered to be low developed countries. So what was the HDI ranking in 2024? Well, if we look at it, so those countries which got the HDI score of 0.8 or higher, the top 10 countries, we have Switzerland, we have Norway, Iceland, Hong Kong, Denmark, Sweden, Ireland, Germany, Singapore, Netherlands. And Singapore has been consistently ranking at the top because it has got excellent healthcare, good quality education, and of course the economy is flourishing. So Singapore is a very small nation, very small Asian nation, but it has got world-class infrastructure, education, and focuses on innovation. If we look at Germany and Sweden, they excel because of their strong economies, but they also have high-quality public services. So if we want to go beyond GDP, beyond HDI, how else can we define a Viksit nation? So, even with high income and human development, there are other important factors that a country needs to take into consideration before it can be considered a truly developed nation. So when I talk about all this, I'm sure you will understand the relevance of me citing Dr. Rabindranath Tagore right at the beginning. So another way of looking at a developed nation is looking at the prosperity index. See, a country cannot be considered to be truly developed if its people don't have freedom, if they don't have security, if they don't have equal opportunities. So prosperity index provides a more complex picture. So we have this Legatum's property index, and according to that, there are 6 parameters which can be used to judge whether a country is developed or developing or underdeveloped or less developed. First is personal freedom. Do people have rights to express their opinion? Can they express them freely? Number 2, what is the condition of safety and security of the people within the nation? What is the crime rate? Is it low? Is it high? Is the government stable? That means it looks at the political stability also. Are there any major conflicts within the country? Third is good governance. That's very important. What is the level of corruption? Is the corruption level very high or is it very low? What kind of policies are there within the country? Are they transparent or are they less transparent? Then the fourth point is high quality education. See, it's not just making the education system available to all. It's also about how effective is our education system. It's not just about numbers of institutions that we are opening up. What is the quality of education which is being imparted and which is getting imbibed by the citizens? The fifth is the advanced infrastructure. What kind of infrastructure is available within the country? So when we talk of infrastructure, we think of roads, we think of public transport, and of course in today's scenario, we are going to think of internet, right? The connectivity, the digital economy, how much digitalization has happened in various aspects of the economy. And then lastly, the healthcare access. That means, do people have access to good quality healthcare? What is the life expectancy of people? So if we look at this particular prosperity index, the countries which are really ranking high, they are Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Switzerland, and Finland. So all, the Nordic region you will find, or the European countries, which are probably very safe, happy, prosperous. Of course, the scenario in the Europe is changing, but we are talking about the Nordic countries. So Norway, Sweden, Finland, they're supposed to be very, very happy countries which provide a lot of equality. And I've been fortunate enough to visit all these nations. So as a foreigner, I can attest to this, that yes, there is a lot of safety and security. One can walk down the roads at 2 o'clock at night alone and feel safe. So being a woman, I felt very safe in Finland and Sweden. So these are the countries who can be considered to be developed because they are investing heavily in public welfare. They're investing heavily in universal healthcare, free education, and strong democratic systems where people can express their opinion. And in fact, I even witnessed that the level of inequality, or should I say, there's hardly any inequality. There's a lot of respect for work, there's a lot of equality. So the most prosperous nations should not just be focusing on GDP. They have to create an environment where people can live fulfilling lives. So a developed nation, एक विकसित देश क्या है, इसको हम सिर्फ wealth से, धन से ही नहीं परिभाषित कर सकते हैं. It is all about education, healthcare, security, and overall well-being. So I don't deny that GNI per capita or income levels have a role to play, but measures like HDI and prosperity index, they paint a more complete picture of what it truly means to be developed. So at the end of the day, development is not just about growing an economy. It's about improving people's lives. So I don't know how many of you have been to Bhutan. So when you disembark, the Paro airport in Bhutan. I was fortunate enough to travel to Bhutan also. So, what strikes you there? The moment you land in this small Asian country is there is this talk about happiness index. Of course, you see beautiful picture of the king and queen of Bhutan, and then there is talk about happiness index. So Bhutan, I think, is the only country in the world which talks of GNH, gross national happiness. So the process of measuring this gross national happiness began when Bhutan opened up to globalization. So it's all about measuring the quality of life, and that is what ensures that material and spiritual development happen together. And I think Bhutan has done an amazing job of finding this balance. And it has been continuously ranked as the happiest country in all of Asia and the eighth happiest country in the world, according to Business Week. And where India is concerned, our ranking is quite low. So we really have to become Viksit in terms of people being happy. I mean, what's the point of having large amount of money in your bank when you're going to be extremely unhappy? So happiness, I think, is another very, very important aspect, and related to happiness is spirituality. And India, I'm so fortunate that we all are part of such a beautiful spiritual land. But somewhere in this talk of progress, we have lost this element of spirituality, and we need to really get it back if we want our Bharat to be Viksit. In fact, I would want our country to be the happiest country in the world. So, in a nutshell, Viksit Bharat should not only be talking about economics or about increasing GDP, it should be focusing on health of our people, education, safety, good governance parameters, and also conserve our precious natural environment and rich cultural heritage and ensure a very high quality of life. So, having understood what is the meaning of Viksit, and what kind of Viksit Bharat in terms of Dr. Tagore's lines, the kind of Bharat that I am also looking at, let us look at the challenges that we face in becoming a developed nation. So, of course, I'm going to take a very data-driven approach over here, because I think that is what would be most befitting to the students of economics or management or commerce who are attending this. Of course, like I said earlier also, when we talk only in terms of data, it has both advantages and disadvantages. And so while Bharat is an economic powerhouse, challenges like poverty, income inequality, infrastructure, these are the various gaps which are preventing us from becoming developed. So when we look at these challenges, backed by real data, then we know what steps we have to do, undertake. Then we'll be in a position to know what are the gaps and how we can address them. And of course, while I talk about these challenges, I would like to take this opportunity simultaneously to talk about how our current budget, which was introduced by our Honorable Finance Minister, Madam Sitharamanji, how that budget is aligned to achieve this vision of Viksit Bharat. I mean, the budget was introduced this month, so I think this is most befitting that I take this opportunity. So, of course, the budget talks about Sabka Vikas, which means that there has to be a balanced growth of all regions, right? So when we talk about this, I'm sure all of us heard this, Madam Sitharaman talked about zero poverty. She talked about 100% good quality school education. She talked about access to high quality, affordable and comprehensive healthcare, 100% skilled labor with meaningful employment, and of course, a lot of emphasis to women participation in economic activities. I mean, women are already contributing, but their participation has not been recognized. So she spoke about 70% women participation in economic activities and farmers making our country the food basket of the world. So what was the focus of the budget? The focus was on transformation of Garib, Youth, Annadata and Nari, right? And how do we do this? By ensuring accessibility to quality education, healthcare, skilling opportunities, and social welfare programs. So now coming back to the challenges. So what is the first challenge? Because I began with the World Bank's economic parameters. So here also, when I talk about the challenges, I begin with the economic inequality. That is the divide between, or the huge gap between rich and poor. So our country is the world's 5th largest economy. Despite that, the income disparity is a major issue. So the richest 10% of Indians, they are holding 77% of the country's wealth, while the bottom 50% hold just about 13%. So this is, all this statistical data that I'm going to cite, it is all from very reliable sources, from World Bank reports or Oxfam. So if you want, I could share the sources with you, but they are all based on either the budget report which has come in, all the data gathered from reliable sources. So now, why is this inequality a matter of concern? Because everyone doesn't have access to economic resources. They have unequal access to education, unequal access to healthcare, and they have unequal financial opportunities. So, which means that there is also a rising urban economic divide, and the middle class continues to suffer despite the GDP. Overall, GDP is growing, but what is happening inside the country? The divide between have and have-nots is increasing. So what could be the possible solutions? Well, the super rich could be taxed higher. I mean, when I say that the rich people should be taxed higher, I'm sure a lot of people will grumble. They'll say, oh, why should we pay so much of taxes? We're already paying so much. What are we getting in return? Well, let's not get into that debate. But from where will government get its funds? It has to raise it from taxes on the super rich people, because it has got to finance its welfare programs. And at the same time, it has to use those resources for providing financial services to rural areas, and also to strengthen the government programs for supporting the low-income families. So how is the Budget 2025 addressing this economic inequality? Well, it has provided income tax relief to the middle class. So what is happening now with this relief, like 20 lakh per annum and above, you don't have to pay any tax. So this means that there is going to be a boost to the disposable income for the middle level economy, for the middle level class. So with more money in their hand, what means that some kind of economic disparity gets reduced. Now, this budget is also providing support for first-time entrepreneurs. They've got a new scheme which will provide term loan up to 2 crores for 5 lakh first-time entrepreneurs, and which will include women and people from scheduled caste and scheduled tribes over the next 5 years. So this initiative is there to promote economic inclusivity. So we need to have people who are marginalized included, brought into the main economic stream. So with respect to social welfare programs, the government has already made allocations for women and girls, which have got increased to 3 lakh crores. And this again is another major signal towards inclusive development. So the budget has got this Dhan Dhanya Krishi Yojana, which intends to develop 100 districts, which is going to help 17 million farmers. I think there is some query about the attendance link, so I'm sure it will be provided soon. So the budget is also talking about increased short-term credit which is up to 5 lakh through Kisan credit cards for 77 million farmers, fishermen, and daily farmers. Now, the second challenge. What is the second challenge? It is with respect to mismatch between education skills and the job. So, I mean, taking the example, our country is producing about 1.5 million engineers every year, but 80% of them don't have the skills which are needed for job. Now, this is from Masscom's data report. So, what does it mean? Why is this a problem? It is a huge problem. Degrees alone are not going to guarantee jobs if skills are outdated. Also, we witness with AI coming in, blockchain technology coming in, with automation happening. So, with this latest technology happening, the job requirements are changing. So, what has to be done? We have to update our college, we have to syllabus, we have to update our school courses, which are going to match the industry requirement. And more vocational and apprenticeship program have to be introduced. So then, which means we have to really increase our focus on STEM, on AI related skills. So what steps have been taken in this current budget? See, number one, curriculum update is there. A new Center of Excellence in artificial intelligence for education is going to be established with 500 crores in rupees, which means they're trying to integrate artificial intelligence into educational practices. And we all are aware of the NEP, which has got introduced in 2020 for higher education, for revamping our school education. Then the second step which this particular budget has undertaken is with respect to vocational training. So they're trying to skill 20 lakh youth over 5 years by upgrading 1,000 industrial training institutes. And of course, to do this, they have to collaborate with state government, they have to collaborate with industry. Then there is a focus on infrastructure development, and the Ministry of Education has received more than about, I think, 1,30,000 crore rupees, which is about an increase of about 6.22% from the previous year, to boost the educational infrastructure. Then, of course, there is the Pradhan Mantri Research Fellowship Scheme, which is the funds are aimed to provide 20,000 fellowship for technological research in IITs and IISc. So the idea is that our youth, our students, they enhance their skills. Then, of course, there's a lot of focus on various policies. Then the government is also thinking of starting up 50,000 Atal Tinkering Labs, which are going to be started in the next 5 years. And they're also going to provide more of broadband connectivity across the government secondary schools, which the idea is to improve accessibility to quality learning resources and to generate innovative mindsets, because in the rural areas, the lack of opportunity is less. So the children are not able to develop their minds. And I mean, बहुत खजाना है हमारे ग्रामीण क्षेत्रों में भी, but because of lack of opportunities, they are not able to present their skills. So government is really trying to increase access to education, and the focus is on employability and innovation. They're also thinking of adding 10,000 additional seats in medical colleges and hospitals, and increasing their capacity in IITs for 6,500 students. But what they have to here ensure is that the quality is not compromised. So one of the key pillars of this year's budget was 100% skilled labor with meaningful employment. So the focus is now coming on meaningful employment. So the government, if the government really wants to boost our global advantage and strengthen our position as skills capital of the world, so I think towards that direction, the government has decided to set up 5 national centers of excellence for skilling, and they are trying to have global partnership with in this particular program. And they've also increased their resource, or they've also increase their financial allocation. So which was covering the Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Promotion Scheme and Jan Shikshan Sansthan. Now, another big hurdle is that there is a lot of unemployment which our youth face, and job creation is happening very slowly. In fact, I was going through the latest data which has come in, the economic data. Our organizations are also not performing as they were in the previous quarter. Of course, the previous quarter was also, there has been a sluggishness in the industry. So the issue of unemployment is very, very serious. And our unemployment rate stood at 7.1% in 2024. This is according to the CMIE report. And the urban youth are facing more joblessness. So this, I think, is a very, very serious issue. So I think, till what time do I have? I think till 12 o'clock. There are so many other issues which need to be covered. Am I right, Dr. Walia? And there's just 4 minutes left. So, of course, there's a lot of... Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think I will have to quickly wind up. But there are various other issues which I'm sure, because I could go on and on. I could go on talking about the infrastructure, what we need to do, and what the government is doing with respect to smart cities, the greenfield airports. Then, of course, the modified Udan scheme which has come in. Then there is this issue of quality healthcare access. I think this is another very, very serious issue, because this is making the poor poorer, and even the middle class is facing a lot of issue. And here I would like to say that my parents were very, very happy, because they are seniors, they are senior citizens above 70 years. So they were very happy that the government has launched this health insurance scheme, 5 lakh free per year. So I think this universal healthcare insurance scheme has to come in to cover everyone, and government is moving in the right direction. Another challenge is with respect to corruption. In fact, the Transparency International published in its report in 2023, and we ranked 85th out of 180 countries in the corruption perceptions index, which I think is very, very sad. So I'm sure with this digital governance, things would be a little better, but we really need to have institutional strengthening. I mean, people have to really, along with the government, of course, the changes have to start from the top, but we are also responsible for this. So, and then, of course, the next challenge is the environment and climate change, which our country is facing, because we're the 3rd largest carbon emitter globally after China and US. Of course, the government's focus is moving towards renewable energy capacity, and EVC is one such example, and we are really growing in the EV sales. And so again, we need to now continue. Of course, the government has given us the rooftop solar power subsidies to promote the adoption of alternative energy, but this has to go on. The focus has to continue, and more incentives have to be given for bringing in renewable energy. Another issue is of taking care of population growth and urbanization, because when we have urbanization, there are challenges of slums, pollution, traffic jams, and basic services like housing, sanitation, public transport, sewage. So we have to take care of this also, how to make our cities smart. So despite all this, I'd like to just conclude by saying that we've got all the ingredients to become Viksit by 2047. Maybe not exactly by 2047, but definitely, by 2050. Why? Because we've got a dynamic young force. Over 65% of the population is under 35. We need to focus on their quality. We are a fast-growing digital economy. Our UPI transactions are crossing over 14 lakh crores monthly. We are a booming manufacturing sector with a lot of emphasis being given by Make in India program, Startup India, PLI schemes. So Further, the road to become a developed nation will require more bold reforms, strategic informations, good governance, and collective action. So, collective action has to come from government, industries, from you and from me, from educational institutions, and also from the citizens. And of course, one more thing, we have to really manage our debt, because our debt is over 80% of GDP, which is much higher than 50-60% range, which is seen in such similar countries. So, towards the end, I would really like to thank the organizers, Dr. Valia, and the college. Thank you so much for having me over, and thank you so much, beautiful audience, for listening to me so patiently, and thank you so much for my fellow speakers for giving me an opportunity to be the first speaker. Thank you so much. So I think I've exhausted my time, and probably there is no scope for question answer. So I will leave that for the next seminar if I'm invited. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you so much,
Over
ma'am.
to you, Dr. Valia.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the wonderful lecture that you have delivered. And first of all, I'm very thankful to you for sparing a very valuable time for us out of your busy schedule. And you have highlighted so many key points, which is surely need to be considered to achieve the goal of Viksit Bharat. And we have full hope that you have that inculcate some new points which surely help us to understand, analyze, and interpret the vision of Viksit Bharat in a broader manner. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you and all the best. I'm sure it's going to be the most enriching seminar. Thank you, and I sign off. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. So now we are moving towards the next speaker. Dr. Ashwini has joined us. Dr. Ashwini is presently a chairperson, Department of Economics, Guru Jambeshwar University of Science and Technology, Hisar, Haryana. Dr. Ashwini has more than 17 years of teaching and research experience. Before joining Guru Jambeshwar University of Science and Technology, he has been teaching at National Institute of Technology, Kurukshetra, an institute of national importance. His area of interest includes macroeconomics, financial economics, and international economics. Dr. Ashwini has published more than 57 research papers in various national and international journals of great repute, and also presented many papers in national and international conferences at various places. Dr. Ashwini has completed 6 major research projects in our various capacities till now. So with these words, we are very lucky to that Dr. Ashwini has accepted our invitation. So with these words, I welcome you, sir, and I invite you to for this session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Suresh. Respected session chair, Professor Sanjeev Bansalji, fellow panelist, Professor Ritu Naran, another fellow, Professor Suman Kumar, and I'm especially thankful to Dr. Suresh Walia for inviting me on this very important topic on Viksit Bharat. It's not only the Viksit Bharat, title is very interesting, that we are going to attain the status of Viksit Bharat by 2047. But what kind of challenges we are going to encounter? And at the same time, the challenges may offer various types of opportunities. And in between, what kind of the roadmap one in India must have so as to attain the status of Viksit Bharat. So before I start my speech here, I want to share, I think I can share my PPT.
Yes, sir, you can.
Yes, sir.
Saying that you cannot share the screen.
Sir, wait, I'm calling someone.
Yes, sir.
It's not allowing me to share. I don't know where is the problem. So, okay, meanwhile, this technical issue may be addressed. I'm continuing. And I'm thankful to the management of the RKSD college, principal of this college, who has designed this topic very carefully. I appreciate the efforts of the complete organizing team, and particularly not only the selection of the title, but inviting the experts.
Ashwini sir, you can now share your PPT.
Okay. Still, it's saying error is there. It's not allowing, ma'am.
So there is an arrow button. Please click on this.
At arrow button, I'm selecting over there, then going to window, selecting my PPT. And once I say share, it says, show me
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Click on the desktop icon. Then you will be able to share your PPT.
I'm operating from my laptop. I don't know where is this technical problem.
Let me try. I'm trying to share my PPT. If it works, then it means there is no technical hitch. Let me try.
Yeah, please. Meanwhile, Dr. Suraj,
Yes,
you
it's visible, so there is no technical problem, I think so.
my side it is showing.
After clicking on arrow, sir, please click on
Or
the
you
desktop
could do one thing,
icon.
you send your PPT to
And then
Dr.
click on
Suraj.
share.
Yeah, please, Dr. Suraj, write down your email ID in the chat box. I'll share my PPT.
And he will play it from there.
Yeah. I'm sorry for this technical issue.
So kindly share on my Gmail.
Just a second. Yeah, I have sent it. Please check. Yes, did you get my PPT? Dr. Swalia, please.
Yes, sir. We have received the PPT and we are now sharing.
Yeah, please.
Ankit ji, kindly share the screen now.
Yes, sir. Please wait 1 minute. I have shared.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Suresh, for facilitating this one. But I think for this discussion, I require one fellow who will be changing the slides. So starting from this topic, Viksit Bharat, what can be the opportunities and challenges for India? Please move to the next slide. Yes, it talks about the historical journey of India in terms of income and development in the past 3 decades. So much has been discussed before my discussion that income cannot be the only criteria for the Viksit Bharat or the development. Okay, I agree with all the panelists and all of the experts in the earlier sessions. But if we see the journey of India from 1990s to 2021, this green line is reflecting the gender inequality index. So somewhere, if we talk about how much disparity has been removed on the part of gender, our progress is remarkable. We moved from 0.7 in 1990s to 0.5 in 2021. On the other hand, if I say in terms of gross national income per capita, in terms of purchasing power parity, somewhere we were around at 1.77 thousand and we crossed the level of 6,000 by 2021. Similarly, if I see Human Development Index, which captures overall the performance in terms of income, health, education. So on that front also, we shifted from the index value of 0.4 to 0.6 in the last 30 years. On the front of education front, expected years of schooling, if I say this red line, we moved from 8.1 to close to 12. So means on an average 12 years are being spent by the students of India into the education system. This slide is just to tell how historical development has been there and what needs to be done at the next 25 years, next 30 years, I'll be discussing in coming slides. In the morning, also, there was a discussion about Human Development Index, ranking of India, income is criteria only. So if I see this table, country like Bangladesh, Indonesia, Brazil, they are performing well as compared to India. Rankings are much above than the India's. Here I'm presenting my first column tells the rank of India, which is 130th as of 2020. Obviously, we are lacking somewhere into life expectancy or mean years of schooling or in per capita income as well. If Bangladesh is the country lower per capita income, gross national income, but still performing better in Human Development Index. Obviously, they are doing well in terms of expected years of schooling and the life expectancy. So here is the situation that what India has attained so far, or it is telling where we people are standing today. From this journey, from this time period onwards, we want to go to the status of the Viksit Bharat. How can we attain the status of Viksit Bharat? We can move to the next slide. Here are the macroeconomic projections of the Viksit Bharat. And I feel very privileged to be the part of the team in Niti Aayog who has carried out the vision document for the India. And during this teamwork, we people have come up with a consensus or kind of modeling, econometric modeling was there. It says that India is standing today, means we are taking reference point 2019, wherein our nominal GDP is around 2.83 trillion. We are expecting to reach it by 13.2 trillion by 2047. In the morning also, it was a discussion that exchange rate is expected to reach by 125 at the rate of 2047. Interestingly, per capita GDP, we are taking 2019 as a reference point with a reason because 20 and this corona period, there were so much fluctuations, so which does not help us to capture the long run behavior. Now, taking the stable time period, and if we see what can be the possible status of per capita GDP India can attain, means we are expecting to reach by 17,590, close to $18,000 in terms of per capita, which was in the morning it was highlighted that today World Bank is classifying lower middle income group countries and the high income countries. And this $18,000 is a criteria wherein country will attain the status of higher income country. These days, we people are talking in terms of low income or middle or the high income country status, because it was a debatable matter whether countries, when can we say country is developed or it is not developed. So better to talk in terms of income and then say whether the status of Viksit or the developed country can be attained or not. In order to have this very aspiring target of 18,000 per capita GDP, we need to have the investment rate. Today we are around 28%. We need to have another 7% of the GDP. Keep in mind, it's not only the 7% of the today's GDP. Once we are going to attain the status of $30 trillion, so 36% of that we would be requiring the investment. In the morning also it was said that India's capital output ratio is today somewhere close to 5%, and we need to have the around 45% investment. Considering the experiences of other countries, likewise we say in China, their investment rate is well above the 40%. But India has a historical journey of the consumption-driven economy, wherein we grew close to 70% as the consumption investment. So merely saying that we will be attaining this investment rate above 40% may be very aspirational objective. Then saying in terms of exports, today we are having 18% of around 33%. And imports will be reaching from 21% to 38%. So this is a general macroeconomic projections which most of the economic students are familiar, that we define the national income identity in terms of investment, consumption, net exports. So I think this table itself is telling a kind of challenges for India. We want to grow almost 9 times in terms of per capita GDP. If we compare the past 30 years, our GDP has not grown by the 9%. In order to attain this level, we need to have close to 10% nominal GDP growth rate. Attaining that is a very, very tough job, because in the morning it was also said that during 1990 to 2004-5, India's growth rate has been at the max 6%. So earlier we used to grow with the rate of 6%, and now we are expecting to grow with the rate of close to 10% in another 2.5 decades. It's a very challenging job. And how can we attain this? Merely saying that per capita improvement in per capita GDP will help for the Viksit Bharat. No, it is not complete. It is incomplete. Also, Professor Narang has well stressed upon these issues. Then we need to have the parallel performance on the education indicators. Please move on the next slide. Yeah. See, very interesting observation is here. A kind of relationship do exist between the per capita GDP and the literacy rate. If you see this middle graph, which is clearly indicating that a kind economy China, which has GDP around $15,000, but its literacy rate is above 97%. Same is the case of if you take the upper middle income group countries, when there is an per capita GDP around $12,000, even then literacy rate reaches at 96%. So this middle graph clearly shows the direct relationship between income and improvement in the literacy rates. Extreme right corner graph is telling the experiences of Brazil, Indonesia, Malaysia. Even we see their literacy rate has been well above 80%. But if we come to the India, extreme left corner of this graph, it's telling that in 2021, India is having literacy rate of 78.5. And if we want to have the status of Viksit Bharat, means we have to have the level of education which are attained by the other comparable countries, like by China or the upper middle income country. So from that perspective, India needs to have the literacy rate of 95% by 2047. Today we are standing at somewhere 78. So see, we have to attain the another almost 20% in the literacy rate. On the one hand, it is a challenge, but at the same time, opportunities. Means there is a great responsibilities lying at the part of education institutions and the government to think over how much spending do we need to attain this ambitious target. Second component to the Viksit country that we must have, please move the next slide, is the improvement in the health conditions. From the morning we are listening that there is requirement of well-being of the human. Again, I'm starting this graph, extreme right-hand side, which shows the relationship between healthy life expectancy on an average, how many years people are living without any kind of the disabilities. This is little bit different from the life expectancy because if people, sometimes it may happen, people might be living for longer years, but we come to know that last 10 years are just full of diseases. So we need to consider healthy life expectancy. Again, in case of China or the Malaysia or the Brazil, their healthy life expectancy is well above 65. Or in case of China, it is above 68. But if we see in India, today we are standing somewhere at 60. Healthy life expectancy, it is in number of years. 60 years. On an average, we can say up to 60 years people live healthy life. And if we want to attain the status of Viksit Bharat, we need to, we may have two types of, one is the base scenario, another is the vision scenario. If we want to attain the status of Viksit Bharat, at least another 10 years need to be added for 2.5 years. आज हम 60 हैं, हमें 70 plus लगभग क्रॉस करना होगा. Then only we can claim that yes, people are having the better health. Also in terms of literacy, if we improve, we can say like this. Please move to the next slide. Yeah, very interesting slide. From the morning, people are talking and everyone is having the concern that what needs to be done, how to attain the status of Viksit Bharat. Of course, we require the higher income. Of course, we require the equal distribution of the income. But how to improve the income level? All the times we are saying inequality is prevailing in India, top 10% are holding the larger pie of the GDP. But see what is the real skill set, what is the set of human capital in India. If we compare extreme, my graph starts with the right side and then I move left side. Because on the left side we are talking about India. Right side I am giving the comparable picture, what is happening in the rest of the world. China, Malaysia and Brazil, their per capita GDP we know about $12,000. But the person, how many percentage of skilled workers are there into their labor force? All of these countries are having 60 plus percentage as of today into their labor force. But if I say the status of India, in 2019, we have, sorry, I'm in previous slides. Skill set, yeah, this one. So here it is not for China, it is for Brazil, South Africa, and these countries. Please move to the previous slide. Skill set. Next to this one. Next to this. Yeah, skilled workforce. So, country like Brazil and South Africa, their skill set, the percentage of workers in skilled workers into their labor force is above 50%. As in case of Brazil, above 60%. Where is India standing today? We have only 21% workers are the part of the skilled force out of the total labor force. If India wants to have the Viksit Bharat, we have to generate the employment opportunities. Then only we can say that there is improvement in income and there may be the improvement in health and education conditions. But skill set, we are talking about that government has allocated so much funds in this recent budget, various types of the schemes for the Kausal Bharat and so on. Despite of having all the educational facilities or the training institutions we have in India, skill set is only 21%, and we need to attain the target of at least 70%. What a long journey India has to travel. It's really challenging. हर स्टेट के अंदर इंडस्ट्रियल ट्रेनिंग इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं, but what we people are nurturing there, it's a question matter, and question matter before all the academicians particularly. We have to think over this one. We can take questions on this aspect at later stage. Yes, please move to the next slide. Coming to the another dimensions of the health indicator, if we see, I must have collabed with the previous slide along with healthy life expectancy. But anyhow, we can discuss here. Mortality rate in India vis-a-vis the other comparable countries. Most of the countries, like Brazil, China, Malaysia, they have infant mortality rate close to 10 or even less than 10. But in India, mortality rate is 43. And also maternal mortality rate is 233 as of today. So if we want to attain the status of Viksit Bharat, we have to improve the health conditions. Likewise, mortality rate must have at least maternal mortality rate, we must attain the target of 67 and infant mortality rate close to 5. How much spending do we require for the health purposes? How many new education health institutions do we need? Subject matter of discussion. Then coming to the, please move next slide. Another interesting findings. Most of the time we say the country, why there are the differences across the countries, why some countries are rich and others are poor. Being an economic student, we can understand. It's the productivity of the factors of production which makes the difference. And here I am taking the labor productivity of the industries as a reference point, how India is behaving and what needs to be done. In the morning, it was said that our manufacturing is stagnant, why India is not doing well, China has performed well. This graph itself tells, if I see the productivity, this blue bar tells the productivity of other industries other than the labor intensive industries. Red bars are telling the productivity of labor intensive industries. I am categorizing industries into two broader heads, labor intensive and the rest of the industries. Where is the problem for India? We might be talking about the jargons. India need to have develop the semiconductors. India need to have developed the advanced artificial intelligences. Agreed. But if we think what is the strength of India, we have been enjoying the labor intensive products. And what China is doing into the labor intensive industries, a complete picture is here. In China, labor intensive industries are having much higher productivity compared to the India's. Now, both the countries, India and China, are comparable in terms of populations. Rather, we people claim that we are going to have the advantage of demographic dividend. Agreed. But how can we take the advantage of demographic dividend when a labor abundant country wherein the labor intensive industries must be having the competitiveness all across the world? But India is miserably lacking here. Our productivity is $42,600, whereas USA is having $157,000. Forget about other industries. Blue bar graphs are for the other industries. कह सकते हैं हम कि इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स में चाइना अच्छा कर रहा है, इलेक्ट्रिकल्स में कर रहा है, अदर सेक्टर्स में कर रहा है. एग्री. बट लेबर इंटेंसिव में तो इंडिया को अच्छा करना चाहिए था, बट वी कुड नॉट. Here is the opportunity challenge, but at the same time opportunity. What India needs to do to have the Viksit Bharat, we have to revive our labor intensive industries. Parallel right side also, whatsoever is the productivity, its reflection will be coming in terms of returns to
Dr. Ashwini, you are not audible now.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
I mean, I don't know when there was the internet disconnection. Last time, could I discuss this labor productivity slide?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So means we need to understand the productivity differences which is there between India and the comparable country. It's not necessary I'm taking China as a reference point, but particularly when the matter of labor intensive industries is there, we can take China as a reference point. Coming to my next slide, please move. Yeah, this graph itself tells how much scale differences in the output of labor intensive industries is particularly there. What kind of labor intensive industries? We see furniture is there, footwear, textiles, yeah, man-made fibers. These red bars are for India. And wherein for each sector, you can see the smaller values. And these blue dots, they are for the China. Their values are measured from the right-hand side. But if we see, let's say even furniture items, the output is $3.4 billion in case of India, whereas China is producing $104 billion of output. If you take the footwear, 6.1 and 103. This really alarms to Indians. If we want to be the Viksit Bharat, we have to focus on the scale differences of the output. What China did, what is the experience of China? Initially, multinational companies of the America, they started investing in China, particularly into these sectors, footwear, textiles. So what Chinese people did, they learned from the experiences of MNCs and gradually developed their own brands. And once they develop their own brands, so they start doing all kind of the advertisings and marketing strategies. In due process, they have given tough competitions to the USA firms. And over the period of time, those brands have become the leading output hub as well as the export hub for the Chinese economy. So we, India, can think of how to revive our labor-intensive industries. This is the most important observation I'm making on this platform. Please move to the next slide. Yes, another interesting observation. Sometimes we can say, please next slide. Yeah. Sometimes we say that, okay, India cannot compete with China. There may be some other technological factors and so many things. But look what has happened in India in these labor-intensive industries vis-a-vis Vietnam. These days, if you see labor-intensive industries, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Bangladesh, they are doing well. When, though one must not appreciate what has happened in case of Bangladesh, but at the same time, it is an opportunity for India to grab the particularly textile sector. Blue bar graphs are for India, red one is for the Vietnam, and it tells the differences in the gross value added per employee. Productivity in terms of value added of labor intensive industries between two time periods, 2019 over 2030. And these are the averages. So in most of the sectors, Vietnam has performed very well in terms of adding the gross value additions per employees. Productivity has improved significantly. Whereas in case of India, some of the sectors have reported the decline in productivity, negative sides, this one, left side. And whereas marginal gain is there in few of the sectors. So if we see the intertemporal performance of India for the past decade, our labor-intensive industries have remained stagnant, and even we are not able to face the competitions with countries like Vietnam. Herein lies the scope. If we want to have the status of the Viksit Bharat, we have to understand our strength, labor-intensive industries, and we need to revive them. Coming to the next slide, move please. Slide is not visible to me. Please move on.
Sir, wait a minute.
But anyhow, I can conclude my slide. If it is visible, then fine. Otherwise, I can see from my desktop. This slide is talking about how much export potentials. We are saying that our exports have to increase up to 18% to 33% of GDP. Within labor-intensive industries, if I say, India is contributing at the max 5% of the world demand for each sector. The sectors which I have considered as labor-intensive, likewise footwear, textiles, glass and glassware, toys. Into each of these sectors, India is contributing almost 5% of the global demand. Whereas if I see for China, yes, this slide itself. Upper left part is for India, whereas upper right hand part is for China. China is contributing more than 50% of the global demand, whatever is import demand into the world economy for labor intensive industries. China is contributing more than 50%. If I go with this one, Bangladesh also contributing significantly into textiles. Vietnam is also contributing into footwear and other made up textile. So this clearly tells that India needs to grab the opportunities into the rest of the world. There is a huge demand for the labor-intensive products. We have the capabilities of the demographic dividend. We have the strength of the textile products or the footwears earlier. Only thing we need to empower them. We have to take care of those small industries, which are at the local levels. Coming to the final slide, please move the next one. Here are the important strategies, what we need to do. Reviving the labor-intensive manufacturing. As I already outlined, India is lacking considerably in terms of scale of output, in terms of productivity, in terms of GVA difference, in terms of lower export potential of India. So we need to take care well of this labor-intensive industry. Focus on the MSMEs, micro, small, medium enterprises. What has happened? Everyone is talking about MSME contributes almost this much percentage, significant contribution to the output of the employment. But what is happening? Distribution, if I see, almost 90%, first they say 95% of the enterprises are the micro enterprises in India. Not even mid, not even small. Whereas the case of Vietnam or Indonesia, middle. Middle concept here is our enterprises have remained micro for the longer time periods. We need to convert our micro enterprises into the middle and then the small enterprises. More interestingly, if we see the data which I could not present here, 90% of the MSMEs have amount of investment less than 5 lakhs rupees. If we compare the definition given by the government of India in terms of 1 crores and 5 crores, then the scale of investment is very low into MSMEs. And what the MSMEs, what kind of this one, food sector they are dealing with. And then if we come from Delhi to Chandigarh, large number of hotels and restaurants are set up over there. But the scale of investment of majority of the micro enterprises is very low. So it's a really challenge for us. If we cannot revive our MSMEs, then having competitiveness and giving a tough steps to the China is next to impossible for India. Structural compositions, obviously we are talking about moving from the agrarian developed economy to the service driven economies. Haryana is very fortunate on that front. If we see the today's structure of Haryana, which is more or less same comparable to the India's economic structure, having almost 16% of agriculture, around 28% in industry, rest from services. So for in Haryana, there can be the specific strategies to generate various types of food processing industries. So we can increase the potentials, opportunities for the agricultural sector into the manufacturing world. Maintaining the investment, obviously it is very crucial. Investment rate has to be above 35%. Obviously we need to have the better financial institutions, banking facilities, access of the credit, and also from the state funding side. Important is need to focus on education. Skill set, India is still considerably lacking. People teacher ratio already it is too high in India, and enrollment ratio we need to improve the same. But most important is we have to be ready for the middle income trap. India will be attaining the dollar per capita GDP, but we will be crossing the level of $8,000. Most of the countries have stuck up with this income level of $8,000 per capita. So we have to be very careful that we do not experience any kind of the middle income trap in our coming journey. And this is all from my side. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Alia. And most importantly, I am thankful to all the audiences who have cooperated with me despite of the problems at my end. Sometimes and sometimes network issues. But throughout the discussions, you have been very patient. I'm so thankful to all. Thank you to the organizing team. Over to you.
Thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful discussion, for the session on the Viksit Bharat at the 2047. opportunities and challenges. Sir, I can say this thing, the wonderful presentation that you have given in terms of status of income and development in India, status of HDI and its comparison with other countries, education indicators, status of life expectancy, status of skilled workforce,
Bharat, you are
status
not
of
audible.
mortality rate, and export potential, and many more other points. And very rightly, you have pointed that we have to be take care MSMEs, we have to focus on education sector. So no doubt ki, these insights will surely help us to be understand the vision of Viksit Bharat and how we can achieve the vision of Viksit Bharat by the 2047. No doubt this is the umbrella term, and definitely this cannot be limited to the economic front, and definitely we have to be take care of all the sectors of Indian economy. So thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful decision.
Thank you, Doctor.
We have any now I would request any person, if you have any question, kindly write on the Google Meet, Google Meet through or through the WhatsApp also. So we'll take it on the in the last. So now we have the next presenter, next speaker, sorry, Professor Suman Kumar. Professor Suman Kumar, are you here?
Yes, I am very much here.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. So Professor Suman Kumar is a professor of political science, Rajdhani College, University of Delhi. Professor Suman Kumar is a political scientist and has more than experience of 25 years of teaching, research, and administrative. Professor Kumar has published more than 25 research papers in various journals of national and international repute. Professor Kumar has organized various conferences which may be sponsored by the ICSSR. Professor Kumar has also chaired more than 50 sessions in various seminars and conferences. So with these words, I welcome you, sir, and now session over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Suraj, for inviting me. And let me thank the audience first, because I'm the third speaker in the continuous row. So let me ask the chair, Professor Sanjeev Bansal, how much time I have, because I'll set my tone accordingly.
Sir, Professor Sanjeev has some medical emergency, so he has not joined. So you can take the time around 25 minutes, sir.
Okay. I'll try to wind up before that. Yeah. Let me share my PPT first. And I'm switching off my video so that I can see this slide better. You can also see the slide. So now slides are visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I am a student of political science, not of economics.
Yes, it is visible, sir.
Okay, thank you. So my vision might be different from the vision of previous speakers in terms of subject and subject input, rather you can say. So सबसे पहले मैं इस कॉलेज को धन्यवाद दूंगा जिन्होंने मुझे बुलाया, डॉक्टर सूरज and Dr. Surinder, who is from political science department of the same college, and he connected me with Dr. Suraj, and my previous speakers also, Dr. Ritu Narang and Dr. Ashwani, both have spoken well, and most of the things they have covered in terms of economy. So let me start with the vision of Viksit Bharat, which I have prepared in terms of role of youth and with the vision of Viksit Bharat. So Bharat at 2047, 2047 का भारत, ये एक परिकल्पना है. I would like to be bilingual or better in Hindi, because when you talk about Viksit Bharat, जब हम विकसित भारत की बात करते हैं तो शायद हिंदी जो हमारी मातृभाषा है वो हमें बेहतर कनेक्ट का माध्यम देती है, ऐसा मुझे लगता है. सो 2047 का भारत एक परिकल्पना है जो विकसित भारत के बारे में बात करती है, और ये वर्तमान नेतृत्व जो हमारे माननीय प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी का है, उन्होंने ही ऐसी कल्पना की कि भारत को 2047 में जब आज़ादी के 100 साल पूरे कर रहा होगा, तो उस समय का भारत किस प्रकार का होना चाहिए। तो इसमें हमें ट्विन ऑब्जेक्टिव्स दिखाई देते हैं, और ये हमारे दो तरह के जो उद्देश्य हैं वो क्या है कि आज तक आज़ादी के 75 साल से ऊपर हम मना रहे हैं, लेकिन अभी भी बहुत सारे औपनिवेशिक संस्थान और उनकी छाया हमारे संस्थानों पर है, हमारी कार्य प्रणाली पर है। इसे बदलना चाहिए, और इसे बदलने का एक ये दृष्टिकोण है कि 2047 का भारत किस प्रकार का होगा। इसका एक अगर उदाहरण लें तो हमारी जो 2 सीआरपीसी और आईपीसी चल रही थी, जिसे अब बदलाव किया गया है। ये बदलाव इसलिए हुआ कि इसका हम भारतीयकरण करें। सो फ्री फ्रॉम कॉलोनियल इम्प्रिंट्स एंड इंस्टीट्यूशंस का तात्पर्य यह है कि हम किस प्रकार इन औपनिवेशिक छायाओं से बाहर निकलें, अपनी संस्थाओं को बाहर निकालें, अपने नियम कायदे कानून में बदलाव करें, और किस प्रकार से नए भारत की परिकल्पना को आगे बढ़ाएं। क्योंकि जिस समय भारत 100 वर्ष पूरे कर रहा होगा अपनी स्वतंत्रता के, उस समय भी यदि हम उन्हीं संस्थाओं के साथ अपनी शासन व्यवस्था चला रहे होंगे, तो ये शायद कोई बहुत अच्छी स्थिति नहीं होगी, जिसे डीकोलोनाइजेशन भी कहा जाता है कि ये औपनिवेशीकरण से हमें मुक्ति की राह चाहिए, उससे हम कैसे मुक्त पाएं और उससे अलग होके हम भारत को पाएं। सो ये हमारा पहला ऑब्जेक्टिव है। और दूसरा ऑब्जेक्टिव है रिवाइवल ऑफ इंडियन ग्लोरी। भारत जिस तरह का देश है, जिस तरह की हमारी सांस्कृतिक समृद्धि थी, जिसे हमने गंवा दिया कहीं ना कहीं, उसे फिर से प्राप्त करने की दिशा में यह एक कदम है, जिसे भारत 2047 कहा जाता है कि 2047 का भारत कैसा होगा। तो उन सारी चीजों को जिसे हम पीछे छोड़ आए, उन सारी बातों को जिन्हें हमने पीछे छोड़ दिया अपने मध्यकालीन युग में, उन्हें फिर से हम कैसे प्राप्त करें, ये इसी का एक विजन है। I request the scholars also, if you get any question, any doubt in between, you can intervene, or you can ask me in between, not in the chat, but rather you can ask question directly, because when I am on the full slide, I cannot see the chat box. And I would like your response also, because my topic is to connect with the youth. Youth से जोड़ना, youth की भूमिका किस प्रकार की होगी, उसी के बारे में मुझे बात करना है। So most of the young research scholars, if you involve yourself in talks also, or in raising questions, I'll be very happy. So 2047 के जिस भारत की हम परिकल्पना कर रहे हैं, वह भारत एक महाशक्ति के रूप में है। महाशक्ति का अर्थ वर्ल्ड पावर है, और वर्ल्ड पावर किस तरह की पावर होगी? सिर्फ आर्थिक नहीं, यानी हम एक बड़ी ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी बना दें, वह भारत का एक दृष्टिकोण नहीं है, बल्कि आर्थिक रूप से, सामाजिक रूप से, राजनीतिक रूप से, सांस्कृतिक रूप से, आध्यात्मिक रूप से यदि हम आगे बढ़ते हैं और हमारी पहचान विश्व में पुनः स्थापित होती है, तो लगेगा कि भारत एक विश्व शक्ति बन रहा है। और विश्व शक्ति एक नकारात्मक शब्द नहीं होना चाहिए, इसे हम सकारात्मक ढंग से देखें कि यदि हमें कोई बात कहनी हो तो दुनिया उसे एक सीरियसनेस के साथ उसे सुने, उसे समझे, उसे देखे और उसका सम्मान करे। तो सिर्फ यह एक आर्थिक दृष्टिकोण से बढ़ता हुआ भारत न होके इन सारे दृष्टिकोण से बढ़ता हुआ भारत होना चाहिए, जो 2047 तक हमें पूरा करना है। और युवाओं की इसमें सबसे ज्यादा भूमिका इसलिए है क्योंकि आज की तारीख में जो युवाओं का प्रतिशत है भारत में, कि अभी लेटेस्ट हमारी जनगणना तो हुई नहीं है, लेकिन जो हमारे आंकड़ों का अनुमान है वो कहीं ना कहीं 29% से लेके 36% तक माना जा रहा है कि भारत की कुल जनसंख्या का आज की तारीख में युवा वर्ग है। इसलिए उनसे उम्मीदें भी ज्यादा है, उनके हिस्सेदारी भी ज्यादा होनी चाहिए और उनके कर्तव्य भी ज्यादा होने चाहिए। Next slide is visible to you. That is, can you see the next slide? It has changed or not? Yes, please, anyone may answer.
Yes, sir. Next slide is visible now.
Yes. So what I want to focus, that is the idea of Indian nationalism. भारतीय राष्ट्रवाद किस प्रकार का होना चाहिए, विशेषकर 2047 तक जाते जाते हमारे राष्ट्रवाद को पूरे विश्व में किस प्रकार का सम्मान मिलना चाहिए। भारतीय राष्ट्रवाद एक सांस्कृतिक राष्ट्रवाद है, भारतीय राष्ट्रवाद एक भौगोलिक राष्ट्रवाद नहीं है। इसलिए मैंने कहा इट्स कल्चरल नेशनलिज्म एंड इट इज बियॉन्ड टेरिटोरियल स्टेट, यानी भौगोलिक सीमा के भीतर ही नहीं है। जो पुराने समय से जिस भारत को हम मानते हैं या जिस भारत की हम कल्पना करते हैं, वह भारत एक भौगोलिक सीमा का नहीं है। जिस राष्ट्रवाद की बात हम आज करते हैं, मॉडर्न स्टेट, आधुनिक राष्ट्र राज्य कहे जाते हैं, ये पश्चिमी देशों की एक उपलब्धि है या उनकी पहचान का एक दृष्टिकोण है। भारतीय व्यवस्था में या भारतीय परंपरा में भारतीय राज्य हमेशा से उस राष्ट्रवाद में विश्वास रखते थे जो भौगोलिक सीमा में नहीं है, क्योंकि बहुत सारे राजा थे, सब एक दूसरे से जुड़े थे और सब भारतवर्ष कहते थे। तो भारतवर्ष एक इमोशनल एंटिटी थी, एक कल्चरल नेशनलिज्म है, ये सबको जोड़ने का एक भाव है जिसे हम अपने पारंपरिक भाव में यूनिवर्सल ब्रदरहुड या वसुधैव कुटुंबकम कहते हैं कि सारी धरती हमारे बंधु बांधवों की तरह है, ऐसा हम मानते हैं। और अखंड भारत की जो परिकल्पना की गई थी, वह अखंड भारत की परिकल्पना ही शायद हम फिर से 2047 में स्थापित करने का प्रयास करेंगे, लेकिन इसका अर्थ यह नहीं है कि पूरे विश्व को हम समेट लेंगे। अखंड भारत का अर्थ है कि हमारी एकजुटता बनी रहे, हमारी पहचान जिंदा रहे और हमारी स्थिति ऐसी रहे कि विश्व के सभी देश उसे स्वीकारें, उसे माने और हम उस स्थापित गौरव को फिर से प्राप्त कर सकें जिसे हमने कहीं ना कहीं छोड़ दिया है। यूथ के रिलेटेड बात करनी है, थोड़ी सी बात मैं यूथ पॉलिसी की करूंगा कि जिसे युवा से संदर्भित जो नीतियां हैं भारत सरकार की, उन नीतियों की चर्चा करूंगा कि भारत में ये 4 जो आप स्लाइड में देख पा रहे हैं, ये 4 नीतियां अब तक रही हैं। यूथ पॉलिसी पहली बार बनी थी 1988 में। So the important question is that India gets independence in the year 1947. We adopt our constitution in 1950. लेकिन 50 से लेके 88 तक 38 साल के बाद हमने पहली यूथ पॉलिसी बनाई, हमने इस तरफ ध्यान देना शुरू किया। दूसरी यूथ पॉलिसी 2003 में बनी, तीसरी यूथ पॉलिसी 2014 में आई और चौथी यूथ पॉलिसी जो अभी ड्राफ्ट फॉर्म में ही है, जिस पर अभी चल रहा है, जो 10 साल का एक विजन है कि यूथ को हम कैसे आगे बढ़ाएंगे। और जो फोकस एरिया है वो नीचे दिया हुआ है कि हमें सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है कि यूथ को हम शिक्षा दें, यूथ को रोजगार मिले, यूथ एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप बने, वो नए नए इनोवेशन करे, यूथ लीडरशिप का डेवलपमेंट हो जो हमारे देश के विकास में हमारा सहयोग करें, यूथ का स्वास्थ्य ठीक हो, उनकी फिटनेस ठीक हो, खेल कूद में वो हिस्सा लें ताकि शारीरिक रूप से भी वो अच्छे बन सकें। सोशल जस्टिस अलॉन्ग विद जेंडर जस्टिस है, सामाजिक न्याय तो चाहिए, लेकिन साथ ही हमें लिंग आधारित न्याय की भी बात करनी होगी, जेंडर जस्टिस की भी बात करनी पड़ेगी कि 2047 तक का भारत होगा जो सबको एक समान, कम से कम एक प्लेटफॉर्म उपलब्ध कराएगा जहां विकास की पूरी संभावनाएं होगी और हर तरह के व्यक्ति, संस्थान, समूह को आगे बढ़ने की पूरी छूट होगी, पूरी आजादी होगी और वो जिस तरह का चाहेंगे उस तरह की सुविधाएं देश से ले सकते हैं। सो हु आर द मेजर स्टेक होल्डर्स? द स्टेक होल्डर्स का मतलब है कि विकसित भारत के लिए हम किनसे उम्मीदें रखते हैं, कौन इसके पार्टनर होंगे और किन की भूमिका सबसे ज्यादा होगी, इसके बारे में भी हम थोड़ी सी बात करेंगे। तो इसके लिए सबसे पहला जो दायित्व है वो स्टेट का है, राज्य का है, क्योंकि विकसित भारत एक संकल्पना है जिसे पूरा करने का बेड़ा किसने उठाया है, ये भारत सरकार की तरफ से दिया हुआ दृष्टिकोण है। तो राज्य का पहला दायित्व बनता है कि वो इसके लिए परिस्थितियां उपलब्ध कराए। दूसरा हमारे समाज का दायित्व बनता है। कुल मिलाकर मेरा कहना यह है कि विकसित भारत सरकार से नहीं होगा, समाज को भी उसमें जोड़ना पड़ेगा, हम सब की सामूहिक जिम्मेदारी होगी, युवा के विशेष वर्ग से जिम्मेदारी होगी और विशेष भूमिका होगी युवा वर्ग की, तभी जाकर यह विकसित भारत की संकल्पना अपने पूर्ण स्वरूप में आ पाएगी, अन्यथा यह बाकी अन्य योजनाओं की तरह ही कहीं ना कहीं अप्रभावी होकर रह जाएगी। तो इसलिए पहला दायित्व राज्य का है, दूसरा दायित्व समाज का है और तीसरा समाज में जो यूथ है, हमारा जो युवा है आज का, जो सबसे ज्यादा एनर्जेटिक है, जिस पे ही हम ध्यान देते हैं और देने की जरूरत भी है, उसी युवा के प्रति, उस युवा का समाज के प्रति, राज्य के प्रति सबसे बड़ा दायित्व है। और वो दायित्व होगा रीचिंग द अनरीच, जहाँ जहाँ आज तक हमारी पहुंच नहीं बनी वहां तक ये युवा इस दृष्टिकोण को लेकर जाए। देयर इज ए डिफरेंस इन इंफॉर्मेशन एंड नॉलेज। थोड़ी इसकी बात जरूर करूंगा कि हमें डिसेमिनेशन ऑफ नॉलेज चाहिए, कि हम ज्ञान को आगे बढ़ाएं, ज्ञान का वितरण करें, ज्ञान लोगों तक पहुंचाएं, लेकिन किस तरह से इंफॉर्मेशन और नॉलेज में जो एक अंतर होता है उसे समझना जरूरी है, क्योंकि इंफॉर्मेशन हमारे पास बहुत सारे स्रोतों से आती है, लेकिन ज्ञान सभी स्रोतों से ऊपर नहीं आता है। ज्ञान के लिए हमें प्रयास करना पड़ता है, मेहनत करनी पड़ती है, तभी ज्ञान आता है। तो इंफॉर्मेशन के लिए हमारे पास सोशल मीडिया है, डिजिटल मीडिया है, न्यूज़पेपर है, बहुत सारे हमारे पास माध्यम है। हम पीयर ग्रुप के माध्यम से भी इंफॉर्मेशन प्राप्त करते हैं, यानी सूचना तो कहीं से भी आती है। दैट इंफॉर्मेशन हैज टू बी वेरीफाइड एंड प्रोसेस्ड इन द फॉर्म ऑफ नॉलेज। ये काम युवा वर्ग को करना है। ये युवा की सबसे बड़ी भूमिका होगी कि वह देश को एक नई दिशा देने में, समाज को एक नई दिशा देने में मदद करे और उन्हें आगे लाए। सो अब हम लोग विशेषकर बात करते हैं रोल ऑफ यूथ की, युवा क्या कर सकता है। देयर इज वन स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक, लेट मी करेक्ट दिस हियर। सो एंगेजमेंट ऑफ यूथ की बात करें, किस तरह का एंगेजमेंट यूथ का होना चाहिए। यूथ को जब तक हम अपने साथ जोड़ेंगे नहीं, वो कैसे अपनी भूमिका का निर्वाह करेगा। सो एंगेजमेंट ऑफ यूथ शुड बी आवर फर्स्ट प्रायोरिटी एंड इट शुड बी द ड्यूटी ऑफ द यूथ टू हैव अ कम्युनिटी एंगेजमेंट। कम्युनिटी एंगेजमेंट मीन्स सिविक एंगेजमेंट, कि समाज में कैसे वो अपना दायरा बढ़ाएंगे और उन्हें बढ़ाने की आवश्यकता क्यों है। बिकॉज टूडेज वर्ल्ड इज अ डिजिटल वर्ल्ड। हम जिस संसार में आज जी रहे हैं वो एक डिजिटल वर्ल्ड है। एआई कितना बदलाव कर रहा है, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस जिसे हम कहते हैं, चैट जीपीटी जिसे कहीं रोकने की बात होती है, डीप सीक आ गया, चैट जीपीटी आ गया, ये आपके सारे काम को कर रहा है, रोबोट्स आ गए। इन सब के बीच में हमारी भूमिका और बढ़ रही है, यूथ की भूमिका और बढ़ रही है, युवा वर्ग की भूमिका बढ़ रही है, युवा वर्ग का प्रभुत्व तो और बढ़ना चाहिए। क्योंकि आज मोबाइल पर या कंप्यूटर पर जिस गति से हम लोग काम करते हैं, युवा हमसे तेज काम करता है। वो हमसे तेज व्हाट्सएप भी चलाता है, वो हमसे तेज टाइपिंग भी करता है, हमसे तेज सारे सोशल मीडिया का इस्तेमाल भी करता है। तो इस डिजिटल वर्ल्ड में युवा को हमें इक्विप करना है, और वो कैसे होगा। टेक्निक एंड स्किल बोथ नीड्स टू बी गिवन टुगेदर। नई नई तकनीक आ रही है, उन तकनीक के साथ भी युवा को हमें जोड़ना पड़ेगा और स्किल उन्हें देना पड़ेगा। स्किल नहीं होगा तो टेक्निक तो अवेलेबल है मार्केट में, लेकिन उस तकनीक को इस्तेमाल करने के लिए हमें जिस किसी कौशल की आवश्यकता है वो कैसे आएगा। वो तो तभी आएगा जब हम अपने आप को उस तकनीक के इस्तेमाल के लायक बनाएंगे। सो द चैलेंज बिफोर द यूथ टुडे इज टू इक्विप देमसेल्फ विद टेक्निक एंड स्किल्स। एंड इससे आगे बढ़ के जिस बात को मैं कहना चाहता हूं, दैट इज वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस। दिस इज वेरी वेरी नेसेसरी। हम किसी भी क्षेत्र में काम कर रहे हैं, हमें अपनी जिंदगी में संतुलन लाने की आवश्यकता है, और जब तक यह संतुलन नहीं आएगा, हम 2047 का भारत बनाकर भी हम बहुत कुछ अचीव नहीं कर पाएंगे, क्योंकि समय अपनी गति से चलता है, समय के साथ हमें कदम मिलाना पड़ता है, समय बढ़ता जाएगा, 2047 आ जाएगा। इस वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस की बात मैं क्यों कहता हूं कि हम किसी भी फील्ड में काम करें, अपने जीवन के साथ कार्य पद्धति दोनों के बीच में संतुलन, सामंजस्य बनाना अति आवश्यक है। और ये कैसे होगा? ये होगा लाइफ स्किल के साथ। और ये लाइफ स्किल कैसे हेल्प करेगा? क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग, जिसकी बात मैं कई फोरम पे करता हूँ, कि किसी बात को इंफॉर्मेशन एंड नॉलेज वाली बात है कि इंफॉर्मेशन है, उसे नॉलेज में हमें कन्वर्ट करना है, तो उसके लिए हमें लाइफ स्किल चाहिए, क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग चाहिए, हमारी पर्सनालिटी डेवलपमेंट होनी चाहिए, हमें और ऐसे कौशल सीखने पड़ेंगे विपरीत परिस्थितियों में हम किस प्रकार से काम करें। जिंदगी को समझने का मौका बार बार नहीं मिलता है, और जिंदगी को समझने में जिंदगी लग जाती है। तो हमें एक ही जिंदगी है, उसी जिंदगी में सब कुछ करना है। तो जब तक इस संतुलन को हम स्थापित न कर पाए, तो हम कभी भी बहुत सफल नहीं हो पाएंगे। इसलिए हमें युवा को टेक्निक और स्किल दोनों देना है, उन्हें वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस भी हमें सिखाना है, और उनके लिए एक हेल्दी एंड हैप्पी यूथ हमें बनाना है कि जो युवा हो वो स्वस्थ भी हो और खुश भी रहे। एक हैप्पीनेस इंडेक्स की भी बात अभी डॉक्टर अश्वनी ने भी की थी थोड़ी सी, कि वो हैप्पीनेस, हम लोग इंडेक्स की बात को अगर भूल जाएं थोड़ी देर के लिए, तो आज का युवा क्या ज्यादा खुश है या नाखुश है, बिल्कुल स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड इस तरह से कुछ कहना, कंक्लूसिव स्टेटमेंट देना, ये शायद गलत होगा। हमें उस युवा की बात मैं कर रहा हूं जो 2047 तक, जिनके कंधों पर भारत को आगे बढ़ाने की जिम्मेदारी होगी, इसे बोझ तो नहीं कहना चाहिए, इनकी जिम्मेदारी होगी, उनका कर्तव्य होगा, और उसके लिए हमें आवश्यकता होगी कि हमारा युवा स्वस्थ रहे और खुश रहे। मनी कैन नॉट गेट यू एवरीथिंग। हम चाहे कितना भी हमारी इकोनॉमी बढ़ जाए, सब कुछ हो जाए, लेकिन अगर जीवन में खुशी नहीं है तो कुछ नहीं आ पाएगा। तो न तो खुशी अपने आप में महत्वपूर्ण होगी, न ही पैसा अपने आप में महत्वपूर्ण होगा। दोनों के बीच संतुलन जब तक नहीं बिठाएंगे तो कोई भी एक चीज हमारे लिए संपूर्ण नहीं होगी। So now the next slide, let us talk about Indian tradition and modernity, and that is the vision for 2047. हमारी प्राचीन व्यवस्थाएं, धार्मिक व्यवस्थाएं, पारंपरिक व्यवस्थाएं, हमारे कस्टम एंड ट्रेडिशन यानी हमारी मान्यताएं, हमारी परंपराएं, ये सब धार्मिक आधार पर थी। लेकिन सिर्फ धार्मिक आधार इसे न कह के वैज्ञानिक आधार भी कहना चाहिए। धर्म तो एक बहाना था। धर्म के नाम पर हमें कोई बात समझाई जाए तो हम जल्दी समझ जाते हैं। विज्ञान उसे आज प्रमाणित करके कह रहा है कि धर्म के नाम पर जो बातें कही गई वो बिल्कुल सत्य थी। हमारे सारे रीति रिवाज, परंपराओं में कहीं ना कहीं एक वैज्ञानिक दृष्टिकोण है। हम चाहे उसे समझ पाए या ना समझ पाए, जिसे अलग अलग माध्यम से आम जनता तक पहुंचाने के प्रयास भी हो रहे हैं। हमारे जितने भी पर्व त्योहार हैं, सबके पीछे कहीं ना कहीं वैज्ञानिक दृष्टिकोण है। ये वो भारत है जिसने सब कुछ उस जमाने में पहचाना, उनकी बात उस समय की जो विज्ञान आज की तारीख में हमें प्रस्तुत कर रहा है, प्रमाणित कर रहा है। तो भारतीय परंपरा जो आज आधुनिक व्यवस्था में कहीं ना कहीं खो गई है, उसे हमें फिर से पाना है, जिसे पाने के लिए इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम के माध्यम से IKS पर बहुत सारा जो काम हो रहा है, वो इसी को ढूंढने का एक प्रयास है कि किस तरह से भारतीय परंपराओं को हम फिर से पुनर्जीवित करें और उस आस्था और विश्वास के साथ जिंदगी को फिर से आगे बढ़ाएं, उस पुराने गौरव को फिर से प्राप्त करें। और हमारा जो सोशल फैब्रिक है, दैट इज यूनिटी इन डाइवर्सिटी का जो हमारा सोशल फैब्रिक है, ये बना रहे। ये पहले भी था, आज भी है, आगे भी रहना चाहिए, ये खत्म नहीं होना चाहिए। भारत की भूमि ऐसी भूमि है जिसने कई धर्मों को जन्म दिया है। हिंदू धर्म यहाँ पहले से था, लेकिन इस्लाम आया, इस्लाम से पहले क्रिश्चियनिटी आई, हमने उसको वेलकम किया। इस्लाम आया, हमने उसको भी वेलकम किया। जुडाइज्म आया, हमने उसको भी वेलकम किया। सिख धर्म, जैन धर्म, बौद्ध धर्म, ये सब हमारे यहाँ ही निकले। तो सबको हमने फलने फूलने का मौका दिया है। और इन सब के पीछे हम कहीं ना कहीं देखते हैं तो एक आध्यात्मिक भारत है, स्पिरिचुअलिटी ऑफ इंडिया है। सब जोड़ने की बात करते हैं, तोड़ने की बात कोई नहीं करता है। इसलिए इस महाकुंभ का एक मैंने उदाहरण के लिए शब्द को लिखा है कि आज जो महाकुंभ चल रहा है, तो वो महाकुंभ किसकी बात कर रहा है? वो महाकुंभ यही दिखा रहा है कि हमारी आस्था है, हमारा आध्यात्म है, और हम उस आस्था की वजह से जुड़े हुए हैं। हर समाज के हर वर्ग के लोग वहां आ रहे हैं और उस संगम के पवित्र नदी के जल में स्नान कर रहे हैं। ये किसे दिखा रहा है? हमारी भारतीय परंपरा। हम कितने भी आधुनिक हो गए, लेकिन परंपराओं से हमारा जुड़े रहना बहुत जरूरी है, यही हमें आगे बढ़ाएगा। और दिस इज माय लास्ट स्लाइड कि भारत, किस तरह के भारत की हम कल्पना कर रहे हैं, इंडिया एज वर्ल्ड लीडर, कि भारत किस तरह का वर्ल्ड लीडर होगा कि जो बात भारत कहे उसे पूरा विश्व सुने, और न सिर्फ सुने, उसे माने। जिसका उदाहरण हम देख सकते हैं कि अगर रशिया और यूक्रेन में युद्ध चल रहा है और उधर इजराइल और पैलेस्टीनियन वॉर चल रहा है, तो उस बीच में सब भारत की तरफ देखते हैं कि भारत शायद कोई भूमिका का निर्वाह करे। तो यह जो शुरुआत है और एक विश्व दृष्टिकोण बनाने की शुरुआत है, वो 2047 तक इस प्रकार हो जाए कि अमेरिका की बातों को छोड़ के लोग भारत की बातों को सुनना पसंद करें, भारत के नेता को वो सम्मान मिले जो आज अमेरिका के नेता को मिलता है। So it will be a recognition of Indian philosophy, society, culture and tradition. भारतीय दर्शन, भारतीय समाज, सामाजिक व्यवस्था, भारतीय संस्कृति और भारतीय परंपराओं को हमें विश्व स्तर पर स्थापित करने का भी एक प्रयास करना चाहिए, न कि सिर्फ एक आर्थिक शक्ति के रूप में। तो महाशक्ति में सबकी भूमिका होगी। हमारे जो पारिवारिक मूल्य हैं, फैमिली वैल्यूज हैं, and political engagement. India may be a poor country from Western eye. India may be a developing country from Western eye. But the kind of political engagement we have, that is commendable. और इससे पूरा विश्व मानता है कि हमारे यहाँ जो राजनीतिक व्यवस्था है वो बहुत ही स्मूथ चलने वाली व्यवस्था है और हमने सबको अपने साथ जोड़ने की कोशिश करके रखा है। यह व्यवस्था आगे और बढ़े, मैच्योर डेमोक्रेसी की तरफ जाए और माइग्रेशन, जिससे मैं कहता हूँ भारत से बाहर विदेश जाने की जो होड़ लगी हुई है, यह होड़ अगर उल्टी हो जाए कि बाहर से लोग हमारे यहाँ आने की कोशिश करें, चाहे वो पढ़ाई के लिए हो, चाहे रोजगार के लिए हो, और ये तभी संभव है जब बेटर लिविंग कंडीशन एंड एम्प्लॉयमेंट हमें दिखाई देगा, यहाँ रोजगार के अवसर हमें मिलेंगे, तभी बाहर जाने छोड़ के भारत में रहना शुरू करेंगे या कोशिश करेंगे। तो हमें जीवन जीने की अच्छी शर्तें चाहिए, हमें अच्छे रोजगार चाहिए, अच्छा समाज चाहिए, और ये कौन बनाएगा? इसकी जिम्मेदारी है आज के युवा के ऊपर। जो हमारा यूथ है, उस यूथ के प्रति जिम्मेदारी है वो युवा इस देश को, इस समाज को सामूहिक रूप से लेकर आगे जाए और इस देश को आगे बढ़ाए। मेरे ख्याल से मेरा समय भी समाप्त हो रहा होगा और मेरा जितना प्रेजेंटेशन था वो मैंने आपके साथ शेयर करने की कोशिश की कि विकसित भारत की जो संकल्पना है वो किस प्रकार की होनी चाहिए और विकसित भारत में युवाओं की भूमिका कैसी होनी चाहिए, और विकसित भारत सिर्फ एक संकल्पना न होकर ये हमारी सामूहिक जिम्मेदारी होनी चाहिए कि इस देश को, इस राष्ट्र को विश्व स्तर पर ले जाना, इसे आगे बढ़ाना, ये हम सब की जिम्मेदारी है। सो मुझे सुनने के लिए बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, और एक बार फिर से डॉक्टर सूरज वालिया जी को और कॉलेज के प्रिंसिपल और कॉलेज के सभी फैकल्टी मेंबर्स और ऑल दोज रिसर्च स्कॉलर्स हु आर एसोसिएटेड इन दिस नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस, क्योंकि ऑनलाइन कॉन्फ्रेंसेस करना भी आज की तारीख में बहुत आसान नहीं है, क्योंकि ऑनलाइन में सीरियस स्पीकर्स अगर मिल भी जाते हैं तो ऑडियंस कई बार सीरियस नहीं होती है, लेकिन आप लोग जिस पेशेंस के साथ सुन रहे हैं मुझे अच्छा लगा, एंड थैंक यू वेरी मच। थैंक यू। डॉक्टर अरविंदर कौर, you want to say something?
Dr. Arvinder, you want to say something? Okay, so thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful talk, and no doubt you have given a new flavor to this national seminar. As a political scientist, you have given a new thought to us, that is a role of youth to achieve the vision of Viksit Bharat. Sir, no doubt the youth is very important for the country like India, that we can say that we are very rich in the demography dividend, and it is very duty to make this demography dividend, to utilize this demography dividend in a positive manner. Otherwise, अगर policies education के through, skills के through और training के through अच्छे skill ना हम लोग इनको youth को दे पाए, तो definitely ये demography disaster में convert होगा. So wonderful session. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank
you. So now we have a very special guest, Shri Manohar Manoj. He's editor-in-chief, the magazine Economy India. And one thing I want to share that मनोहर मनोज जी ने हमारे साथ जो है हमें ये परमिशन दी कि इस सेमिनार को हम कवरेज इकोनॉमी इंडिया मैगजीन में दे पाएं. सो वी आर थैंकफुल टू यू सर, एंड मैं चाहूंगा कि सर आप भी अपना कंट्रीब्यूशन दें. सो आई इनवाइट यू सर, ओवर टू यू सर.
Uh, Hello.
You,
Could you
you're audible.
see me on the screen?
Yes, yes, audible, sir. Visible.
Okay, okay. Thanks, Walia ji, and nice to participate in this national seminar organized by your college located in Kaithal. Respected Principal Sahab, respected Chief Guest, Mr. M. Goel, who is my old friend, Walia ji, and all the organizing committee. It's very heartening to see to organize this lecture on Developed India Viksit Bharat at the rate 2047. I think there is this topic is just buzzing around in all the debate center of the country, especially in the academia circle. So this topic is being consistently debated, analyzed, and being envisioned for the upcoming goal of Viksit Bharat by next 22-23 years. Because this seminar is organized by the economics department, so I can easily understand most of the economists are participating in this seminar. So far my submission is concerned, I have delivered more than 3-4 lecture on this very topic in different colleges of the country. So today what I have charted out my synopsis for this topic, though I have contributed a full paper on this also, which has been well taken by Walia ji in his conference volume. So briefly, I would like to say presently our economy have around $3.9 trillion level of economy. We are, as we all know, we are the 5th largest economy, and we are day by day progressing. We have achieved highest growth in the country, in the major, among the major countries of the world, around 6.5%, though for the last 6 months, we have some lowering trend of growth coupled with a strengthening of US dollar and the threatening of President Trump to impose new tariff on all his importing country, including India. So since India has a very huge trade deficit, though we are lowering it, now it has gone down to 1% of the GDP. But in respect to US, we have a trade surplus and we have a $45 billion trade surplus with US, which President Trump want to reduce by imposing new tariff on the Indian imported item. So India has a major challenge if it wants to become a developed country. Around 20 to 25% of the GDP has to be well covered by external trade, and whether through export or import, but we definitely need trade surplus if we want to strengthen our currency rupee, because rupee is consistently being depreciated in dollar terms for last 5-6 years, and we have a more than 20% depreciation of rupee in terms of dollar. I would like to say if we want to become a developed economy for the next 20 years, we need consistent 7%, minimum 7% growth. But we can't say we can achieve this or we can achieve more than 7%, or we can have a lowering rate of growth also, between 2017 to 2022, when we have a demonetization followed with corona period. So our growth was consistent around 5% for the around 5 years. And when corona came, we have a minus 10% growth. So we need for next 22-23 years, we need 7% plus growth. And that is very difficult because since 1991, in last 30 to 32 years, 34 years, we have average growth of 5 to 5.5%. So we can't say we will have a 7 and 8% consistent growth till the coming of 2047. This is the major challenge. This is the rough estimate. If you have a very high growth, you can manage all the bottleneck and all the deficiency and defects of economy. But the foremost thing is to maintain the growth rate 7% plus. Second thing, we have a very a change of new economy, new technology in terms of our economy. We have a traditional area, we have a new economy area in terms of green energy, in terms of electric vehicle, in terms of digital economy, we in terms of organic farming, in terms of natural farming, in terms of renewable energy, in terms of hybrid transport. So many things are there which are the new area of economy, and that has to be replaced with the old economy. Since I am a media person, so I can say in terms of media industry or hello, in terms of information industry, our old media economy is being replaced by new media economy, and that is very much part of digital media also. So we have so many challenges and so many opportunities both. Talking about the challenges, so India has a huge challenge. India has a huge amount of inequality. India has a huge area of informal sector of economy. India has a very less productive agriculture area. India have a very huge number of unemployed army, and so many things are there. There is lack of level playing field also. We are talking about the participation of private sector. So public private sector, if it is not run under a very robust kind of regulating authority, then we will have a major problem. Though we know the success story of telecom sector and information industry sector in 1990s, we have a 5 round of new economic policy in terms of telecom sector. So telecom sector was the most booming sector in Indian economy. We have a very cheapest rate of mobile telephony along with the largest growing area of economy. So that happened because of regulatory authority, which allowed the private sector in a major way. It allowed the huge amount of investment in the infrastructure, and it gave a tough competition to government player. And now what the present situation is there, we already know about that. So I think if we talk about several challenges, so we have to brought out some robust kind of regulatory authority with a new model for the areas like huge education sector, the huge health sector. We need regulatory authority for railway sector, for transportation sector, for the petroleum sector. The way we designed regulatory authority for telecom sector, that has not been applied in a very big way in other areas like electricity production, distribution. In area like petroleum exploration, we have a several round of petroleum exploration policy. We invited huge investment from the private and the multinational player, but things have yet to be explored. So if you talk about the private sector investment in many areas, first you bring a regulator, first you bring a major policy, and then allow private sector. We cannot allow private sector to come and use the all infrastructure created by government sector and start earning profit. They have to invest in a huge way on the infrastructure side. Talking about railway, my submission is that private sector come and just lay out a parallel 2 new railway track and just add another 80,000 kilometer, 80,000 kilometer of rail network, and then you start earning revenue from the railway operation or from the freight operation like that. But government is not doing. Government is itself expending 1 lakh crore annually to expand the infrastructure of railway, and then it comes says to private sector, you come and just operate your rail and operate or all value added railway service. That is not the good thing. Same way in the education sector and the health sector, there is a huge presence of private sector, but there is no regulator, there is no level playing field. New education policy and the recent report made by Niti Aayog, that is regarding quality, availing quality higher education for the state-run public university. It also doesn't talk about all the atmosphere and level field existing in the education sector. So many areas which have to be brought under 3-tier regulatory authority. for the areas like education and for areas like health, because they are not only the major part of human development, but also a big source of employment, big source of human development, and big source of India's economy also. And talking about the other area, I would like to talk about, if you want to make India richer, stronger, and developed economy, we have to address the major problem of inequality, and how this inequality is generating in our Indian society. That is because we have a differential policy regarding education, regarding health, regarding social security, regarding all sorts of things which are directly related with the well-being of any human society. And we are, because of some differential policy in these areas, we are creating a different world, a different kind of dynamics in our Indian society. That is why the Oxfam report says the 67% asset is located among the 2 or 3% people, and the 67% population have only increase of only merely 1% asset. So just I am concluding my presentation. We need several sorts of reform also if we want to make our country developed. That is regarding the governance reform. That is to my mind is the major reform. We need a electronic governance, and in several areas of governance we need to work, induct technology, and just bring a new policy initiative, so that we can curtail corruption, black money, inefficiency, leakages, delay, and all sorts of capacity building bottlenecks. And then we have to chalk out a very streamlined major strategy. We cannot achieve this goal only through emotive speeches or emotive presentation. We have to design a very tactful long-term perspective planning in different area of Indian economy, coupled with the good political support also. Thank you very much. You give me opportunity, and I was also associated with this seminar through my magazine. And this collaboration, I think, would be beneficial for everybody. And in economics term, I can say this is win-win for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Manoharji, for sharing your valuable insights. Now I am Dr. Naresh with you, and now I have been duty to for the vote of thanks in this plenary session. I am honored that I have been given the duty for the vote of thanks. Our first speaker, Professor Ritu Narang, Department of Business Administration, University of Lucknow. Dr. Ashwini, Chairperson, Department of Economics, Guru Jambeshwar University of Science and Technology, Hisar. Professor Suman Kumar, Department of Political Science, University of Delhi. And of course, our recent speaker, Mr. Manoharji, Editor-in-Chief, Economic India. We are deeply grateful for your insightful presentations and engaging discussions. Your expertise and passion for your respective fields have enriched our understanding of the challenges, opportunities, and roadmap for Viksit Bharat at the rate 2014-7. And again, special thanks to Editor-in-Chief for collaborating with us. We appreciate the time and efforts you took to share your knowledge with us, and we are thankful for the valuable insights you all speakers provided to our audience. Your contributions have been instrumental in making this seminar a success. Thank you once again to our esteemed speakers and everyone involved in making this seminar a memorable one. And one more request to all of you, that all the chairs and co-chairs are requested to start the technical sessions sharp at 1:45 and wind up it by 3 p.m. so as we can start the valedictory session by 3 p.m. Thank you again. We shall meet again at 1:45 in technical sessions. And we shall share the feedback link in valedictory session. Thank you again.